The Regina Red Sox and Medicine Hat Mavericks, they're bitter rivals, and they've grown bitter with how this 2026 season has shaped up so far. It's been an interesting one for two clubs that are often in the playoff hunt, and they are again this year. That hasn't changed, but usually they're firmly in it at this point. Right now, they're battling to get those third and fourth spots in the Eastern Division, and this game is pivotal, and I mean pivotal. The Mavericks have a one-game lead in the season series between these two. They sit a half a game back of Regina in the standings, and Regina, they also have games to make up still, so the advantage in that category as well. The Red Sox, it has not been the encore performance of 2025. They got the championship that they had longed for since the early 2010s last season. It was not a great start to this year. It has gotten better recently. 3 wins in a row heading into the All-Star break. 2 of those against the Lethbridge Bulls, who are one of the league's better teams, and they look to make it 4 here tonight against the Mavericks, a team that they've played okay against this year, as I mentioned, obviously indicated by their head-to-head record so far this year. But at the same time, overall, their record still sits under 500, and that has been disappointing for Medicine Hat. Their last stretch has been just that. They've lost 4 consecutive games. They can't find a way to win at home most times, and they've had lots of disappointing performances right here at Athletic Park, and it has quieted the crowd early on. It has made for a tense dugout and an even a nervous crowd out there, and those two things usually don't mix well. So looking to turn the leaf are the Mavericks. Regina looking to continue their late season push here. Both teams focused on the playoffs, but focused on each other here first. And for Regina, they come in mentioned on a hot streak, and they get their ace on the mound tonight. We'll talk more about Kagan Baker throughout this game. If there was a time for Kagan Baker to play at his best, it is in this game. Medicine Hat going with Danny Retzlaff, their veteran on the mound. So 2 proven guys in this league. Can they get it done here tonight on Flow Sports? That's one of the biggest questions, and we're going to hopefully answer that in this game. I'll be alongside you as always. My name is Truman Bartman, and we have a fairly sunny night here at AP, and it's been that for a little bit here as this season has winded down, and for both teams mentioned, this is not how they drew things up, and that makes for tenser times. And Medicine Hat, it either starts now or it starts never. Regina has kind of began their pushback in this season, and it has made them more of a threat to some of the top teams. As we mentioned, what they did against Lethbridge, that was impressive, and they never seemed to be out of a game or out of a season, as they proved with their later rally last year. And Medicine Hat is trying to find that magic that the 2025 Regina Red Sox had, and what this group is starting to show in 2026 as well, in a very important game. And we'll be back to it here on Flow Sports, and of course get you your starting lineups presented by Fortis Alberta, and of course then get to playing ball here in a big game. As the umpires make their way behind home plate, that is our cue to talk about tonight's starting lineups, beginning with the Medicine Hat Mavericks. And the Mavericks are going to go with the almost the exact same look we saw last night. The only changes really coming at catcher and in the 9-hole. We'll get to those in a second. Evan Morrison and Blake Dale once again sharing the outfield. Frankie Giacalone back at first base again. Carter Roth at second. Nick Hill at third. Johnny Volcano over at short. Nate King will try again behind the plate. Jamel Chabot got the run last night, so that 3-catcher rotation still very active for the Mavs here, and King getting his opportunity in this game. Adam Volcano, he's batted 9-hole a lot this year, moves up to the 8th spot, will play in the right field again, and batting in the 9 spot and DHing is Josh Stark out of the lineup last night. He's been more into the DH role lately. There hasn't been a lot of defensive play from Stark, and I think that's okay. Stark has shown that he's really good on DH nights. He's done well with the bat. He enjoys the 9-hole. A good spot for him tonight against the Red Sox. And speaking of the Red Sox, here is the look for them. It is a completely different combination than what we saw last time they played here, and that's because lots of players have floated in and out, and of course there's been some changes personnel wise in the front office, which we'll talk about tonight, I'm sure, but it remains the same, at least in the one spot, with Jalen Myers DHing and leading off. He's sometimes in the outfield, he's sometimes a DH, similar to Josh Stark. Regina starts it off here with a guy who's done it well in the past, Jake Fowler. Talk about the game that he had in Lethbridge in the Red Sox last game before the break. We'll talk about that later tonight, but a 4-for-5 performance. He looks to keep that up, batting second. Daniel Castellanos, the defensive stalwart behind the plate for Regina. It will be Brady Bye, the former catcher, playing third base for most of the year. He slots in there tonight. Derek Kepke, a new first baseman, a new ad, can also catch for the Regina Red Sox. He'll play first and bat fifth. Alex Rue will be over in right field. Rain Krekowitz in center. To the left of Krekowitz will be Reese Reina, another new ad for the Red Sox. So all 3 outfielders batting the 6, 7, and 8 spots in this game. And Chance Deskelchuk will play in the middle infield over at second in this game. So no Justin Samard in the starting lineup, the 2-time All-Star out of this. No Ian Montz in the outfield. Those are 2 names that have been big in the past for the Red Sox. Big against Medicine Hat, big when playing in Medicine Hat, and their absences will obviously be missed in this game, but we'll see if this makeshift Red Sox lineup can get it done here against a Mavericks team that is desperate for a win. We'll now toss it down to field level, get our national anthem, and return with our first pitch. Mavs will get their ceremonial first pitch underway here in the game. But let's talk about who will be throwing out the literal first pitch when the game starts. That will be Danny Retzlaff. His third start at home this season. Came in relief once here as well. It has not been the season that Danny Retzlaff was looking for, but he hasn't played the whole time, so the number's a little inflated, at least ERA-wise. A 17.61 ERA so far this year, an 0-2 record during his starts, just 6 strikeouts. He also has 6 walks, so the strikeout to walk total's not what Retzlaff did in the 2025 season, where he had a 5 ERA and found the strike zone a lot. Logged some long innings, some good innings at that, and Retzlaff hoping to find that magic that he did. He had a lot of time away from baseball, which obviously it means it's going to take a little bit of extra time to get back into the game, and he has experienced that. I think the Mavericks have experienced kind of two tales here. Some guys that have been trying to figure it out and get back after not playing for a while, and other guys who have played a lot of baseball and are trying to just keep the wear and tear at a minimum, but it ramps up with getting into more games and using your body more often, and I think that's being seen throughout the entire league. And the Regina Red Sox, with a deep run last year, you can only expect that a couple of their guys who were on that team are going through the same thing. It's who can get through the dog days of the summer, and that is what we are in right now. In this game, we're going to find out a lot about these two and kind of find out who can dig a level deeper than the other. Such a key moment in the season. You don't want to bank an entire year on just one game, but it kind of feels that way with where Medicine Hat has kind of sat over the last few, how Regina has began to elevate their play, and the Weyburn Beavers and Swift Current 57s are right there as well, and that makes this game just so much more important, knowing that those two could also take games tonight, and obviously whatever team's playing in this game does not want to fall behind one of those two. So the toss down to second, we will begin the game with Jalen Myers, the Doan product, coming up to the plate. First guy that Retzlaff will see. One of the few lefties on the Mavericks is Danny Retzlaff. That may give an extra push to them today. For the most part, when Regina has played Medicine Hat so far this year, they've seen a lot of righty looks. Will it be different when they get a different arm angle on the mound? We'll see. First pitch from Retzlaff to begin the game is going to miss for ball number 1. We start right on time tonight. Each game scheduled for 6:45. You usually don't get it on the button, but in this game it is a perfect start time for the Mavs and a perfect pitch there from Retzlaff to even the count at 1 apiece. Danny Retzlaff, formerly at CSU Pueblo, was in the portal this year, so he's looking for a new home for this upcoming season. A bouncer in the dirt to Myers, no challenge, so it'll be 2-1. Jalen Myers has been around the league for a while, was a part of the championship squad in 2025. Retzlaff, quick to the beat here. Myers fouls it aside, and it's 2-2. There's some action in the Regina bullpen, and you can only expect that that's Kagan Baker down there getting ready to make his first appearance in this game. Seeing that there's a number 34, it is Baker who's getting warm before his start. Here's Retzlaff. Just getting a tip of the bat on that was Myers, and it will remain at 2-2. Waiting on deck behind Myers is Jake Fowler, who's coming off probably one of the best games of his WCBL career, at least hitting-wise. Pitching-wise, you can make a debate that it was the first game of the year against the Mavericks. Pitch to Myers. Hard hit to his teammate in Volcano. A one-hopper to first, and what's the call going to be? There has not been a call at first base yet. I think they're going to say that he's safe, but there was no initial signal from the first base umpire, and I'm not really sure what to say about that. Jalen Myers looks like he's heading back towards the batter's box. You got an umpire now kicking up at the mound. So a lot of confusion to what was called there. I'm not sure if Retzlaff slipped coming off the mound. No pitch is going to be the official call here. That's something you rarely see. And I think it is because of something to do with the mound. You could see the third base umpire coming and kicking the rubber and the dirt. Maybe not having his foot planted was Danny Retzlaff. I didn't see if his delivery was messed up by that, but we'll get back to 2-2 here. Myers, a swing and a miss. And Danny Retzlaff gets a strikeout here and gets an extra life with it. Originally, it was a ground ball to Johnny Volcano. We didn't get a call to whether it was safe or out at first base. A really close play. Instead, it resets, and the Mavs get the first out of the ball game. And now to the plate comes Jake Fowler. Mentioned his night in Lethbridge, or in Regina against Lethbridge, that game being played at Curry Field. He had 4 hits in 5 at-bats and 1 RBI to go alongside it. Fowler, he'll tip off the first pitch here. Danny Retzlaff, still wearing that bright red glove. The only thing that he wanted to change today was his walk-up song. He said, the last one didn't work well enough. I have to do something to get into my mode, and we'll see if the change is worth it. Second pitch to Fowler, a perfect floater here from Retzlaff. Waiting on deck behind Fowler is Daniel Castellanos, the catcher. Retzlaff, pitch awfully close to Fowler. He turns away, and it's ball 1. The numbers for the Mavs on the mound, they haven't been near the worst in the league, but at the same time, they're not pretty. Lots of runs given up, and defensively, they've struggled as well, as it's a strikeout to Fowler. Soft toss from King to first. That's 2 Ks in the first inning for Danny Retzlaff, who gets out number 2. So up comes Daniel Castellanos, and you can talk about the Mavericks offense all you want. They put up some big numbers this year. That wasn't the case in yesterday's game, in which they lost. But for Regina, it's been a different story. They have a couple of big offensive names who have put up good solo numbers, but throughout the lineup, it's been inconsistent. Retzlaff, the first pitch to Castellanos, is high. Waiting on deck is Brady Bye, who was 0 for last time the Regina Red Sox came to town, and that was over the 2 games that he was here for. Retzlaff, Castellanos. This one will fly in towards right field, take a slow hop, and end up in for a base hit. So the first hit of the game for the Red Sox here, with 2 outs in the top half of the first inning. It will send to the plate Brady Bye, 2-time All-Star, former playoff MVP in the WCBL, a 1-time champion, participant in the Home Run Derby. He's done just about everything that one guy can do in a WCBL career. And he doesn't have to worry about getting a ring anymore. The only thing that he might be worried about is getting an MVP, that in the regular season, as he pops this up towards Nick Hill. Hill will make the play in foul territory, and that does it for the first inning. So Brady Bye continues his struggles here at Athletic Park as he flies out towards Nick Hill. And it's a quick first inning for Danny Retzlaff on the mound, and much improved from his previous starts. We'll see if that trend continues. Only having to use 13 pitches in the first inning was Danny Retzlaff. He threw 9 of them for strikes. That is the Danny Retzlaff of old. If you're watching him for the first time, or you've only watched a couple of his starts in 2026, you might be like, is that Danny Retzlaff when he's on? It is. That was a perfect performance and a really good start for a team in the Mavericks that need their starters to go deep. They got a longer start out of Jackson Miles yesterday. You got to think back to Derek Archer's start when he went into the 8th inning. They've been getting a few quality starts from their guys on the mound. They just need that to become a trend game in and game out. And Retzlaff setting the tone here today. Can the Mavs bats follow? They got a run in the first inning against Moose Jaw a night ago. That wasn't enough. They only scored one the rest of the game. Evan Morrison, a big part of getting that one run through. Had a solid day yesterday. 2 hits against the Miller Express. Now here he is against Kagan Baker. Baker, first pitch to Morrison is a strike. And for Baker so far, a 3-2 record, a 7.53 ERA, 48 strikeouts. He does not walk a lot of batters. He is right in the strike zone, and it made him one of the league's best pitchers in the first month of the year. High pitch to Morrison will be ball 1. Baker was on pace and really in the conversation for the league's ERA title early on, but he's let it slip here in his last couple of starts. It hasn't been pretty. His numbers were still good enough a couple weeks ago to be named an All-Star, so made his first All-Star appearance in his first season in the WCBL. Ball 2 here to Evan Morrison. Morrison taking his time here at the plate, and he doesn't need to rush against a guy like Baker. Morrison checks his swing, called the strike regardless. Baker waits on the 2-2 here. And Morrison strikes out looking. So the first K of the day for Kagan Baker, and now there's been 3 strikeouts in 5 batters. That's a pretty good start for both pitchers. Do we have another pitcher's duel on tonight? The Mavericks have not been good when they've gone into games when it's been pitcher v. pitcher, neither guy giving up a lot of runs or a lot of hits. It's been some of those higher scoring games where they're able to find it. Here's Blake Dale now at the plate, all-star teammates with Kagan Baker a few days ago. Baker, first pitch to Dale is a strike on the outside half. Baker, lots of movement on the mound. Even though he's very stationary when he strides towards the mound, it's all the little twitches beforehand is swinging and fouling that off is Blake Dale, who's been through a tough stretch recently. It has not been a good last few games for the Mavs star. He comes up against Baker here behind in the count. That's something we've seen a lot of from Dale recently. Baker, a couple of leg pumps, and he strikes out Dale on 3 pitches. What a beginning to this game for Kagan Baker, and you could see the slap of his leg. He is in it right now. We'll see how long it lasts, but he's looking for a rebound performance. When you have a couple in a row that don't go how you probably pictured them to go, you want to get some revenge. And in an important game, obviously Regina trusts their guy to go, and he's had a little bit of rest, which is going to help him coming into this one. You think about Frankie Giacalone off of some rest yesterday. He put together a pretty good performance. 2 hits in the game against the Miller Express. First pitch from Baker, a swing and a miss from Giacalone. Coach Ryan Reed talked about his group in the past couple of games coming out very aggressive at the plate, and he felt like it hurt them. They weren't working pitchers deep into counts, and it allowed pitchers to go deeper into games. Baker, low pitch here to Giacalone, who doesn't swing. Think about all the talent that there has been on the mound for the Red Sox over the year. Pitcher of the year, Colton Anderson. Zane Paulin, who's now their assistant coach. And then they add another guy this year in Kagan Baker to pair alongside Danny Crabtree. Some big-time names who have donned the hill. Pitch outside to Giacalone. It's been the power metrics for the Mavericks that have continued to where they've continued to find guys throughout the years. Frankie Giacalone has been that guy this year with 10 home runs already. You think about Jordan Phillips and Nick Thibodeau in years past, big home run hitters. Giacalone, just like them, is he'll take for a ball. So after 2 strikeouts, Baker now in a 3-1 battle against Giacalone. Carter Roth is waiting on deck. Roth did not record a hit yesterday, One of those stat lines you don't see very often from the Mavs' best average hitter. Here's Baker on the 3-1. Giacalone, high ball over towards center field. Backing onto it and making the catch for out number 3 is Krekowitz, and that does it for a quick first inning. Both pitchers keeping the pitch count below 15. Giacalone the flyout, a 1-2-3 for Baker on the mound. 2 Ks to go with it. 0-0 through 1 here in Medicine Hat. First baseman Derek Kipke comes into the game, and he makes his WCBL debut. Always a big moment when you come into a new league and you make your entrance. And see if he has a surprise for Danny Retzlaff on the mound. First pitch from Retzlaff is a strike to Kepke. For Kepke, one of the 2 late additions to this Regina Red Sox team. The other, Regina, who comes into the lineup today. So some fresh faces. We'll see what they are all about throughout this game. Kipke going to take for a ball there. Played his college ball in Arizona this year. Now, obviously, lots of fantastic leagues down in Arizona. And he actually got the chance to play with WCBL All-Star Owen Fernandez, who's a Brooks Bomber this year. And Kipke was solid throughout his college year. He's playing it. What says on at least our lineup card, Arizona Christian, but the exact name for the college is, hope I say this right, Yavapai College. Kipke labeled with a strike. It's now 2-2 between him and Retzlaff. Good command on the mound for Retzlaff so far in this game. He'll see Kipke, he'll see Alex Rue, and then Rain Krekowitz in this inning. Retzlaff, ground ball over to Nick Hill, catches it off the bounce, and a throw way offline. Great play by Frankie Giacalone to hold his balance on the bag, and that gets Kepke, so he's down in his first at-bat, and it nearly didn't appear that way. Loading up was Nick Hill, his throw way off target, and a good job by Frankie Giacalone, who we have seen do a lot of that throughout the season. Now comes up to the plate Alex Rue. Not a guy that slots in every day for the Regina Red Sox, but with a couple of big names out, those being Justin Samard and Will Tower, Rue gets his chance to come into this game. First pitch to Rue is high for ball 1. He's a great contact hitter, a guy who can really barrel the ball up, and when runners are on, he plays at his best. Unfortunate circumstance here with the base path clear. Rue catching the inside there. Good pitch from Retzlaff. It'll be 1-1. What an interesting story the Regina Red Sox have been. They've had their ups and their downs, but they're on the upward trend right now. Retzlaff swing and a miss, and a wicked swing there from Rue. Look at the names on the roster, and it's surprising that they haven't had a record closer to 500. But it takes an entire team to bond together and find ways to win, and they have yet to prove that on a consistent basis. Pop-up for Rue as he stays alive against Retzlaff. Taking a spin around and trying to walk things off here is Alex Rue. Rain Kreckelwitz is waiting over on deck. So we're in the outfield part of the lineup for the Red Sox, and a swing and a miss. Third strikeout already for Danny Retzlaff, and the second out of our second. Exchanging of the bat here is Kreckelwitz going to take the same piece of lumber that was used by Alex Rue, and it obviously didn't work for Rue, but a different approach here is coming in as the lefty and Rain Kreckelwitz. Kreckelwitz, you see guys stand right up as close to the plate as they can. About a foot away is Kreckelwitz as he sprays this into left field, and it's down for a base hit. The second hit of the game for the Regina Red Sox. Both hits coming with 2 outs. The first, Daniel Castellanos. And now on base here is Rain Kreckelwitz. Spoke about Derek Kepke making his debut. Here's another guy, Regina, in left field tonight. He heads into the game, a left-handed hitter, so adding a guy on each side are the Red Sox, and that's important when you can flip-flop your order. Can obviously throw pitchers off balance. That's what they're trying to do against Retzlaff. Here's Regina. Pops this up towards Nick Hill. Is this deja vu? Seems like the same inning we just watched. 4 batters faced for Retzlaff, 3 outs, 1 left on, and it ends with a pop-up to Nick Hill at third. The Mavericks throw up 2 zeros on defense to begin this game against the Red Sox.
For more than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Buy Canadian, store Canadian.
A clean first inning for Kagan Baker. He comes out for a second, and a change defensively for the Regina Red Sox. And I'm going to explain this one. Hopefully this makes sense. Will Toer's going to come in at first base. He's the regular first baseman for the Regina Red Sox and an all-star at that. It originally was Derek Kepke who was playing over there, and for Kepke, he just has to get into a game before a certain date to qualify him as a WCBL player, allow him to be on the roster for the rest of the season, and I'm pretty sure that's what Regina was doing, just getting him in. If he qualifies for one at-bat, then obviously he's a part of their roster, and now Will Toer comes into the game, and Carter Roth comes up to the plate. He'll see Kagan Baker for the first time as he takes a ball on the first pitch. Baker, Roth up towards center field, has pretty good distance, but it's tough to get it out into center field, and it'll be caught by Rain Kreckelwitz for out number 1. Flyouts have become routine here for Carter Roth. He used to be so good at playing it along the ground and finding space, but that has not been a part of his game, at least over the last couple of weeks, and he's played a lot of baseball. Mentioned this yesterday on the broadcast. Doan made a long run this year all the way to the NAIA World Series. They were a part of the tournament, and when you log that many games and you're an everyday guy and you're near the top of the Mavs in at-bats this year, you're going to get fatigued at some point. I don't know a lot of professional athletes even that can log the kind of schedule that Carter Roth does and avoid all the major injuries that you could avoid. And the fact that Roth is still even finding ways to make himself visible in games is important, and still finding lots of success in this season. Here's Nick Hill sending one into center field. Kreckelwitz on. He'll make the play. So 2 catches to begin the bottom of the second for Rain Kreckelwitz. And back-to-back flyouts for the Mavericks here as Johnny Volcano comes up with 2 out. Johnny Volcano approaching the all-time games played record for the Medicine Hat Mavericks, and an important record that has not been broken in a long time. Mentioned it on prior broadcasts, but Brian Arthur, the owner of that record, spoke to assistant coach Chad Martin yesterday, and he raved about how much of a warrior Brian Arthur was during his time with the Mavericks, battling through injuries and such. And for a guy like Volcano, you have to imagine that at some points during his Maverick career, he's had some bumps and some bruises, but he's a guy that just doesn't want to be out of the lineup. He wants to play every day, will never admit when anything's bugging him. Here's the 0-1-2 Volcano. He swipes this aside. Kagan Baker, a really good start in this game, keeping the pitch count down. Now he'll set up here against Volcano, looking for another strike. Volcano sprays that wide. He'll stay alive. Looked like he was a bit behind on that pitch from Baker. And that's what hitters were finding early on in the season. They couldn't catch up to Baker on the mound. He's a guy who works quick, and he also can throw very fast. Baker on the 0-2, ground ball up his way. Baker off the one hop, underhand throw to first. Will Tower his first touch of the ball, and it results in an out. So another clean inning for the Regina Red Sox. A scoreboard full of zeros so far. Sometimes that isn't entertaining, but we're flying by here at Athletic Park, and the Regina Red Sox, looking to even the season series, putting up zeros will help in that push. Here are the numbers in tonight's head-to-head between, obviously, the Mavericks and Regina Red Sox. They're the only two teams playing in this game, so why would we talk about anybody else? Of course, the Mavericks with a 17-25 record this year. Very close with the Red Sox, who have 1 less win but 2 less losses. 3 games to still make up on the Mavericks. 16-23 on the year. The Mavs controlling the season series and the run total in terms of runs scored so far this year. So they should have the advantage in many ways, but making it look easy on the mound is Kagan Baker through 2 innings. Danny Retzlaff, you can say the same about him as he begins this inning with a strike. Getting ahead in counts, it has worked well for Danny Retzlaff, and he does the same against Chance Deskelchuk, the young player for the Regina Red Sox. He's batted in the lower half of their lineup for a lot of the season. Deskelchuk out towards left field. Long way to go for Dale. He dives, and they're going to say that the ball landed on the ground, and it will be a hit for Deskelchuk. Dale did everything that he could. He even lost his glove in the process, and no jump would have been able to get him there in time. That's just a tough play and a perfectly placed hit for Deskelchuk. It's the first time we have seen the first hitter get on in this game on either side. So it took 4 halves, but we're finally there. 3rd hit of the game for Regina. And now up to the plate comes the leadoff hitter in Jalen Myers. Retzlaff. Look over to Deskelchuk. First pitch to Myers is for a ball. The Mavs have a Jalen of their own coming up soon. They just added Jalen King to their roster today officially. Another Mid-America Christian product. That's now 5 on the team for MacU. Danny Retzlaff, this one hammered towards center field by Myers. A long way back, Morrison to the wall, and it's gone. A 2-run home run for Jalen Myers, and the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead. So Danny Retzlaff, his first pair of runs given up in this game, and it's via the long ball from Myers. He tattooed that thing as it was up over the fence. And a much-needed first lead for the Red Sox, and for a Mavericks team that has not rallied very well this year. Being down early is not something that they wanted, and hopefully that doesn't take the wind out of their sails, and there's still some positivity in the dugout. Now with a 2-0 lead, Jake Fowler will come up to the plate with nobody out. Retzlaff, a high pop-up bunt. No play for Nate King as he slides into the backstop. Interesting choice to bunt there for Jake Fowler, a guy that's been consistent in his hitting recently. Maybe with nobody on, just looking to find a way to get there. Retzlaff, high leg kick, plants this one in the dirt. So it's 1-1 here to Fowler. Waiting over on deck will be Daniel Castellanos. Castellanos with a hit in this game already, the first hit of tonight. Fowler fouls this one off into right foul territory, right on top of the batting cages. And those collect a lot of baseballs here at Athletic Park. There's 2 of them side by side. And I'm not sure who climbs up there and brings them all down, but you have to get them down somehow. Here's the 1-2 from Retzlaff. Awfully close as it was trailing on that side of the plate, and no swing from Fowler. He'll hold up. It goes to 2-2. Retzlaff, no hesitation, pitch on the way. Fowler, high one out towards right field. It's going to hook right into Adam Volcano. I guess that would be a slice with Fowler being a right-handed batter, so that's out number 1 for Danny Retzlaff and company. The damage has already really been done in this inning for the Red Sox, picking up 2 runs early on. That sets the tone for what the rest of the game can look like. And the 4 hits, also something that's probably satisfactory for 3 innings. Retzlaff. Long pause here, a longer pause than usual for Retzlaff. First pitch to Castellanos is a ball. Castellanos, 2 walks in the game against the Lethbridge Bulls. So he hasn't got to hit in a while. Obviously found it once tonight. And here's a ground ball towards Nick Hill. Just stays fair, hurling it towards Giacalone. And that's good enough for the out. A great play by Nick Hill. Hill's got a cannon over at third base. Not always on the mark, but he can get it there in time, and he did that, getting it to Giacalone on the 1-hop. That's also showing that Hill's made the adjustment to playing at Athletic Park. In an earlier game when he first joined the team, he threw one when Giacalone was looking into the sun that was kind of right at his body. The 1-hop is how you have to play that at this time of day. First pitch here to Brady Bye is taken for a strike. So Retzlaff sticking to the first pitch strike routine here, and it has helped him well. Retzlaff, second offering to Bye. He's not going to bite that time around. A pop-up for Bye in his first at-bat. Retzlaff, just low, and Bye agrees with the call. The lefty-on-lefty matchup could be difficult for Bye in this game. The switch over to a righty, which will probably happen later on with how many the Mavericks have, that could be more beneficial. Here's one topped off by Bye. And even at the All-Star game, it wasn't his best performance. Obviously, lots of hype comes with being Brady Bye in this league, and he has shown up time and time again. But the last 2 weeks have been a bit interesting. And now he has a 2-2 count against Danny Retzlaff here in the third. Retzlaff on the way. Bye. outlooking Danny Retzlaff. He has been friends with the strike zone in this game. 4 Ks already through his 3 innings of work. Brady Bye not happy with the call, but the Red Sox happy with the results. A 2-0 lead. Jalen Myers goes yard to center field, and that got the day kicked off for those in red and blue.
For over a century, we've been more than just lawyers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your strongest advocates. With locations across the prairies, we're everywhere you are. Stringham, your local lawyers.
Yo, that's the one.
You going?
Yes.
Can I join you guys? All right, let's go.
Whether it's on the ice or on our app, always play for the fun of the game. Gamble responsibly with Play Alberta.
It has been the night of the strikeouts so far for both of these pitchers. Danny Retzlaff with 4 after the top of the third. Now we head into the bottom of the third. Already 2 Ks for Kagan Baker, but that's all he's done this year is strikeout batters, limit the free passes, and he's yet to see everybody in the Mavericks order. Still has 3 more to get through. It'll be Nate King, Adam Volcano, and Josh Stark to begin this inning. Nate King, first All-Star appearance this year, 3rd year in the WCBL. 2 spent here in Medicine Hat, 1 spent with the Brooks Bombers. First offering from Baker and a swing and a miss for King. It's hard to be an everyday catcher when there's so many good catchers on your roster, and that's kind of what King has experienced. We've seen him as a DH a couple of times and even a rep at first base in a game earlier this year. Baker pitches outside, and you can see not fond of the movement there was Baker. Definitely missed his spot. See how Baker does pitching with the lead. Some pitchers get rattled by that. Some pitchers flourish. King, foul tip, and now it's 1-2. Baker back on a mound that was pretty much handcrafted earlier today. Lots of water and diamond dry being put on a mound that has had some problems this year, and we saw that already. Not exactly sure what happened, but Danny Retzlaff pretty much got a no pitch and then I guess a repitch with it. Here's the pitch from Baker. Popped up by King as that one will be fouled into the stands. It lands just above me here in the broadcast booth. It won't be me for long, though. Of course, James Tubb always up to join us throughout the broadcast. You can expect him at some time in the 4th inning. King back to a 1-2 count here against Baker. King tried to check his swing. No swing is the call, and it looked close from this angle, but with the backside of the bat hanging out, I think that's what gave King enough evidence to stay alive. Two-two here between Baker and King. Baker on the way, unable to frame that behind the plate. Looking for the call was Castellanos. I mentioned how well Jamel Chabot framed last night. You talk about Elias Duncan, who had a great game here. Castellanos, a part of that club, a guy who can rip the ball back into the zone. Unsuccessful that time. It makes for a full count situation against Nate King for Baker. King pops this one up. Long way to go, and the ball will travel further, so no play available at first base for Tower. And a second one into the stands here for King, who's making this a longer at-bat. Baker, 28 pitches so far in this game. King Resets at the plate. The Mavs would love to get a lead runner on here in the third. And King called out on strikes. Third strikeout of the day for Kagan Baker as he continues to cruise. And now up to the plate comes Adam Volcano. Volcano said yesterday when he was coming up to the plate, his new walk-up song was being played really for the first time, and he looked over, and the pitcher he was facing, Aiden Johnson, was actually singing the song while he was facing him. He said it was super distracting and that it caught him way off guard. Here's Baker. First pitch to Volcano, right at his arm, and I don't believe that it hit him. Volcano will step out, and it'll be a 1-0 count when he returns. Of course, all of our updated stats provided to you on Ball Clubs, and of course, the in-game stat tracker brought to you by Stringham Law. Baker, second offering to Volcano. That one's good for a strike. Volcano had a really hot stretch just prior to the All-Star break. Still trying to get reacclimated with playing post-break. Volcano, a swing and a miss. Pitch was pretty close to the zone, near the outside half. Not sure if it would have been a called strike if it got there, but a swing nonetheless, and now it's 1-2 to Volcano. Waiting on deck is Josh Stark. Baker, high pitch to Volcano. Baker working very quickly on the mound. That always keeps hitters off balance, and Volcano will take a little bit more time. He enters this game batting .283 on the season. Volcano, swing and a miss. Kagan Baker on fire. His fourth strikeout of the game, and he's not even out of the third inning yet. It'll bring up Josh Stark. He sat down the first, let me do the math on this, 8 batters. Is that correct? It's a large number. I can't believe we're already at that point. Looking to make it 9 for 9 as Josh Stark comes up to the plate. Stark, the Mavs' best hitter to begin the season, tailed off a bit in this last half. But when he's DH'd, he's put up better numbers. And he's still batting .333 on the year with 25 RBIs, 4 home runs to go alongside it. Stark, first pitch is fouled off, top of the netting. Long way to go for the ball boy. Gets all the way into the infield. That infield, you can see it's kind of been bitten up, and the ball rests in there very softly. There's always a chance if you bunt or lay down a shorter hit that you can get to first in time. It's always a tough play for the third baseman to make. Here's the 0-1 to Stark. Another one fouled off. 2 to the same side. Looked like he was more behind on the second pitch from Baker. Stark, out of all the hitters in the Mavs lineup, he's probably the best in 0-2 situations. He's got one of those ahead of him here. Pitches outside to Stark, no swing, and so Baker will have to wait a little longer. Two strikeouts already for Baker, looking to make it a prime inning here. Stark, rocket towards right field, a little too high. He's going to push the right fielder and Rue all the way back. He's going to make the grab. 9 consecutive batters sat down by the Regina Red Sox ace in Kagan Baker. He exits the inning with 4 strikeouts on the day, looking for more and keeping that lead intact for the Regina Red Sox through 3 innings of play. Will Tower, his first at-bat of the game. Talked about Derek Kipke coming into the game for one at-bat just to get on the scorecard, just to make him officially a part of the team stats-wise and, of course, league-wise as well. That's a rule. If you don't get in before a certain date, and I think that the date is actually the 25th of July, so still lots of time, but Regina not wanting to take any chances, and Kipke obviously getting the job done. Now they bring in Will Tower, who hit a home run last time he was here. It was out into right field with the wind blowing, and he is a power machine. Coming up to the plate here to see Danny Retzlaff. We'll see how he does against a left-handed pitcher. Most of his matchups against the Mavs have been against righties. First pitch for Retzlaff bounces in the dirt. Tower not chosen to go in the All-Star game for Regina, and that's because of Brady Bye being his teammate. On most other teams, he would have participated in that game, and it's usually a clinic for Tower. He'll pop this one up. A little too much to it. Volcano ranges all the way over towards Nick Hill at third, and he will take it for out number one. Quick outs like that, that's going to work well for Danny Retzlaff, work well for the Mavericks infielders, but it is the bats that have to come alive. That is not what we've seen over the last 2 days. It's a problem that needs fixing. Sometimes all the effort that you put in out on defense and some of those longer innings that happen earlier in the season can add up, and maybe that's what's being felt right now by the Mavericks. Now up to the plate will be Alex Rue. First pitch to Rue. Pulls this one. It's left and foul. Retzlaff steps to the rubber, same time that Rue gets into the box. Second pitch to Rue in this at-bat. It's low for a ball. Retzlaff still working quickly out there, and I think that's at least what gives the Mavericks a chance when you have a pitcher that works quick. We've talked about it before. It allows for the defense to settle in, get a bit more confidence. Swing and a miss there from Rue as right by goes Retzlaff. And it just seems like Danny Retzlaff has more confidence when he pitches fast. I think from all my time watching him, that is something that is the most noticeable. Here's the 1-2 from Retzlaff. Low pitch, blocked by King. Didn't really matter in that scenario as no runners on. Retzlaff will slow things down as he walks beyond the rubber. Waiting on deck is Rain Kreckelwitz. Rue waits on the 2-2 from Retzlaff. Pitch is going to be high for ball one. Ball one. Ball three. Way behind on the count here. Apologies. Retzlaff. Pitch on a full count, and it's fouled back by Rue. So Rue off towards that big tree at Athletic Park. I'm not sure how that thing hasn't fallen over yet. I'm not sure any gust of wind would be able to take it down, but it's been there probably since this arena was built, and they built around it, but it still stays standing. The amount of balls that probably lay in there is wide. That pitch is high, so Retzlaff going to walk Rue. Runner on here for Regina with one out. And after a day of being absent, looks like James Tubb has decided to join us again for another round of ball. James, we missed you yesterday. It was a lonely broadcast without you.
I believe it. I missed. I appreciate that, Sherman. Missed being up here, and glad to be back here. Nice night. Little hazy, but a nice night.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the smoke settling. Alberta wildfires and BC ones as well can always kind of play into the climate here in Alberta, and I guess we're maybe experiencing a little bit of that. I haven't read the weather report if there is anything going on wildfire-wise. Runner going to go here in Rue. Quick throw from King on time and dropping it and letting it get into center field is Volcano. Rue is off to third. That's a familiar play that we saw a lot of yesterday from the Mavs. If I'm a team right now and I'm playing Medicine Hat, I'm stealing all the time or attempting to because it just has not been there.
No, if you're the opposition, it's make the Mavs try to make a play. And I thought that was a really good throw from Nate King, and maybe just a little quick with the glove is Johnny Volcano. He would have had him in loads of time, and instead it skips into center field, and Regina ends up sack fly away from scoring a run.
Krekowitz, ground ball over to Retzlaff. He'll back up, quick look, throw to first. Good look off by Danny Retzlaff as he holds the runner with his eyes, and Rue will stay at third.
It's a good play for Retzlaff. You get a ball coming right back at you. Takes some time to settle the nerves, looks put the runner back, and, a really nice throw to Frankie Giacalone at first to quickly get that second out.
So Reese Reina up for his second career plate appearance in the WCBL. Retzlaff begins Reina with a strike here. Reina 0 for 1 so far. Retzlaff would love to strand that runner. Obviously, giving up the home run was not ideal, but if you can put up zeros after that, you set a good tone for the rest of the game. You get yourself right back in, and then you start to build up that confidence that was obviously taken away by the deep shot from Myers.
A zero here puts the Mavs in the same spot Regina was. A single and a home run, it's a tie, right? And you get to, as you said, chip away from there.
Smack to the side, and maybe a late decision there to swing from Reina. So now it is 1-2. Praised Retzlaff's efforts in staying ahead in the count tonight. Obviously preached heavily by the Mavs pitching coach and Andrew Bench, and being effective in doing that has been Retzlaff.
It reminds me of Danny Retzlaff from last year, Truman. I thought of that early in the game, that this looks like, the guy that's fully settled into form.
Here's a ground ball. Long way to go over the hand of Carter Roth, in for a base hit. And the Mavs unable to get out of an inning without giving up a run. That has become a theme after giving up multiple runs the inning prior. And it's so funny, all these little things that have become trends continue to trend on, and there just really hasn't been any adjustments, at least play-wise, from the Mavericks. It's not like you got to overhaul anything, but nothing has changed, and it's not surprising, I guess.
Just can't seem to buck those trends or, snap things to work their way for extended periods of time.
Obviously some tough plays. You don't expect Carter Roth to get there and make that one, but it's unfortunate that in a good count, obviously Retzlaff's way, the Mavs can't get that final out and now trail 3-0. Swing and a miss. Retzlaff ahead 0-2 here. He looks to put this inning on hold. We're already in the fourth, which is kind of incredible. It's been a snap game. Here's the 0-2 from Retzlaff. Ground ball into that shiny red glove. And out number 3 is taken by Frankie Giacalone. Another run added here for the Red Sox. They extend their lead to 3-0. 5 hits on the board so far as they control things offensively.
The Okotoks Dogs and Baseball Canada will host the Road to Okotoks and the Morneau Cup National Championship at the Seaman Stadium Complex from July 14th to 19th. Come watch the top 16 youth baseball teams from across the country. These are the future stars of Canadian baseball, tomorrow's collegiate standouts and professional players, all chasing a national championship. Don't miss a week of elite competition, unforgettable moments, and the future of Canadian baseball in Okotoks.
Have you ever wondered if there's one thing that connects people from across our province? Something that connects the coffee shop to the spray park, or the brewery to the rodeo, the campground to the sports field. It's pretty amazing when you think about how it's all connected, because it truly is. And it's all we think about, so you don't have to.
Evan Morrison's second at-bat of the game, and we are in the fourth inning. That speaks to how well Kagan Baker has navigated on the mound. He was one of the league's top pitchers at the start of the year, let things slip. Looks like he's picking it back up here in what feels like a must-win game.
It does at this point with where the division race is at between the Mavericks, the Regina Red Sox, and the Weyburn Beavers. Every win here that you can get. It's going to go a long way towards the end of the year.
Morrison, ooh. Pretty sure that went off the face of the home plate umpire. He didn't even flinch, though. I guess when you see the ball enough, it doesn't even matter anymore. You just rub it off and move to the next pitch. So 1-1 count here to Evan Morrison. Baker on the way. Morrison, a swing and a miss. Untouchable so far is Baker. He's had a great game.
He has been. It's a big part of, just keeping the Mavs unsettled at the plate almost. He's been able to work effectively and, just not let them settle in and really try to do any damage.
Evan Morrison, a lot of strikeouts, 24 coming into today's game. Or sorry, wrong stat, 52 coming into today's game for Morrison. Hoping that Baker doesn't add another. High pitch here, Morrison will take. He also has a lot of walks, though, so that's what almost counteracts all of his swings and misses at the plate. And he has been way better in the past bit. He was batting around the 200 mark. Now he's up to 268. He'd like it to be higher. The Mavs believe it can be higher as well. Morrison fouls that one off. And he'll stay alive at 2-2. Big inning and big spot for the top of the order. Not a good performance the first time around. Can you elevate yourself in round 2 against Baker? Baker looked to float that pitch back in, but it just stayed a little high, and now it's a full count to Morrison.
Credit to Morrison. He strikes out looking the first at bat, takes that one, and is confident in getting the ball.
Another high pitch. Morrison works a walk. I was just about to say, he loves hitting to the left side recently. He didn't need to do anything with the bat there. He works his way back. Getting a runner on for the Mavs, so important here. You don't want to let the game slip. It's only in the 4th inning. There's a lot of time left. You don't need to hit panic. Just get a base runner on and then work from there. Morrison, great eye.
I think that's the biggest thing, Truman, in this game moving forward, even especially in this inning, is keep it simple. You see a 3-0 deficit, you want to try to cure it, but finally get a base runner on, try to move him around as quick as you can.
Dale, first pitch taken for a strike. Baker has gone right after Blake Dale, a strikeout on 3 pitches last time around. And Dale is challenging as well, but it just has not been the typical Blake Dale in the last couple of games. Back-to-back strikes here for Baker.
You almost wonder, and we've seen it in this game, he's seen 5 strikes now. If he's looking for the perfect pitch or his pitch, and it hasn't worked or hasn't been able to find that as of late.
You can only wait so long before you strike out, and looking to avoid that here is Blake Dale. Dale, swing and a miss, and another strikeout. So 6 pitches, 2 strikeouts for Blake Dale. That's a hitter's worst nightmare.
It is, and Baker all the way up to 5 strikeouts already to start this 4th inning, and he's worked pretty efficiently right now. 48 pitches here into the 4th, so he's doing well for the Red Sox on the mound.
Frankie Giacalone up now to face Baker for a second time. Talked about his good day yesterday, and he had 3 days off before that, and Ryan Reed talked about it yesterday. He felt like that helped Frankie a lot, and that was intentional that he would get the 3 days. Giacalone, first pitch, strike from Baker.
As much as the Mavs wanted to see him in the home run derby, maybe it's a blessing in disguise for him to get a few days off his feet and, really not swinging for the fences.
Feels like we haven't seen him hit a home run in a bit. It's been a rarity for Giacalone in his short Mavs career. Baker over to first, in standing up is Morrison. You don't want to get stuck on things from yesterday, but you think about how many times the Mavs had base runners on and couldn't convert. And they don't even need to get 10 base runners through in an inning. It's just about getting 1 to set the standard and then go from there. Giacalone, a swing and a miss. Kagan Baker's just out there carving right now.
He is. He's able to move side to side and, a little up and down, and it's hard to square up right now for the Mavs. They're not having that kind of success we've seen in the past against other pitchers.
Baker, high one. That got Giacalone hopping down below. So the count moves to 1-2. Evan Morrison, a guy who can steal bases, but there's nobody on Medicine Hat who has a double-digit stolen base total this year. Blake Dale leads the team with 8, so it's unlikely that he's going to move here. It's almost become predictable for opposing teams' catchers. Giacalone pops this up. Will Tower taps the glove into foul territory. Chad Martin trying to get out of the way, and the play is made by Tower for out number 2. And he was checking on Morrison at first base, thinking that he may have gotten a double play. Morrison back in time. Baker back towards the mound to see Carter Roth.
I don't even know how much Morrison really let off the base there, got off, but, credit for trying, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Carter Roth, 0 for his last 5 at-bats. Something I don't think we've seen really at all for Carter Roth is 5 at-bats without a hit. First pitch, a strike from Baker. I think we could just replay my voice saying first pitch strike for Baker each at-bat, because I can't think about a time where he started 1-0. Baker, Roth sends this one over towards right center field. It will hold up, and making the play is Rain Kreckelwitz. Leaving one on are the Mavericks. Morrison stranded at first. He was the first batter, first guy to get on. Nothing happens after as the Mavs 2, 3, and 4 hitters all go down just like that. Unable to find an answer. Medicine Hat, it has been the last 4 games, and it continues here tonight. Danny Retzlaff. The Mavs were hoping for a deep start. He's into the 5th inning. This is the guy who got him, though. Jalen Myers gave them the Regina Red Sox the original lead in this game, which was 2-0. They added 1 in the last. The Mavs looking to stop the roll here. Giving up 3 runs in the last 2 innings. A healthy swing again for Myers. It looks like he's in a home run derby out there with the hacks that he's taking.
He seems to be seeing the ball well out of Danny Retzlaff's hand, and Retzlaff the last couple of years able to avoid the bat, and this is kind of the tough part of now. You got to try to avoid the bat again.
Retzlaff, a bouncer, probably the right call by Nate King and the right execution by Retzlaff.
See if you can get him to chase. He's aggressive in this at bat, and see if you can get him going again.
Yeah, once you start swinging, sometimes you can't stop thinking about it. We've seen that with a few Mavericks hitters today. Blake Dale in particular, of course. Adam Volcano, he battled in his at-bat, but you could tell wanting to swing, wanting to make an impact, and Myers doing that here. Here comes the pitch from Retzlaff. It's just high, no swing from Myers. That's a good pitch not to swing on. You talked about it. He's in sync, James.
He is, and the first at-bat, the home run from him came off second pitch. First pitch was the ball, so he's had to work back here now to an even count and, even playing field.
And he will take again. That time it almost looked like all the way as he turned aside. Retzlaff. Full count look against Jalen Myers allowed the leadoff man to reach in the last inning. He's hoping for the opposite here. Retzlaff loads up. Ground ball. Nick Hill catches it off the first bounce. A slow hopper in the dirt, and safe at first is Jalen Myers. That is a really close call. I'm not sure about that one. Jalen Myers runs well, but might have just been how slow Nick Hill threw it. That was a bit of a lob over to first base. It wasn't a hot hopper or a bowl of sorts.
Wasn't. I wonder if it was to combat the sun right now playing on first base and in Frankie Giacaloni's eyes. And if you're going to do that, you almost got to get a little bit more on it, especially if a guy can run. And, Jalen Myers was able to get there quick enough and, just beat out that throw.
And good luck doubling up this duo as Jake Fowler swings and misses. Even if it's a hot hit ground ball, one hop over to Volcano, Myers runs well, Fowler runs well. This is a great spot for Regina, top of their lineup with one on. Check on Myers over at first base from Retzlaff. It's disappointing you've watched Jackson Miles have a good start, Derek Archer have a good start. Same can be said for Danny Retzlaff. The Mavs lost the first two games, and they trail in this one as well. Retzlaff checks on Myers again.
It's just about getting everything going at the right time, and it's hard for good teams are maybe able to do that, and sometimes it's hard for any team to be able to do that. They just haven't, and Ryan Reed said this last night.
Here's a hot one underneath the glove of Roth and in for a base hit. So 2 on here for the Regina Red Sox, and the ball getting away from Johnny Volcano. Coming all the way out is Danny Retzlaff back to the mound, and is that not the tale of the Mavericks season? Can't get a bounce, ball whipping all over the place. We saw that in Derek Archer's start. It was bizarre how many times the ball just found its way to the infield and rested there, and maybe looking too far into it, but still at the same time, there's been a lot of those plays that are just an inch off.
There has been, and it's fitting just kind of to tie back in of what Ryan Reed said last night of they haven't played a complimentary game yet. They haven't had all sides working, all cylinders firing in the same direction. And it just kind of, it's lingered and it's cost them a lot throughout the season.
And hanging on in this inning is Danny Retzlaff. He'll see Daniel Castellanos. The first sign of life in the Mavericks bullpen. I think that's Julian Picorni who's standing up down there and getting loose. Playing way in here is Frankie Giacaloni. A death stare towards Daniel Castellanos, and he swings it into center field. Being waved around is Jalen Myers. A long throw to the plate, and it's going to allow for a runner to move over to second, and that's probably one you have to hit the cutoff man and take your medicine. Now Regina has 2 in scoring position and a 4-0 lead here on the road.
Yeah, it's probably a spot you'd want to try to at least keep one runner on first or one runner at a scoring position to turn a double play. And Evan Morrison trying for the play at home wasn't really close. And now the Mavs and Retzlaff are in a tough spot with one run across, and nobody out.
I think you can feel how perfect the Mavs are trying to play and the tenseness that is being brought on with that. You can see that in many of their motions. Time going to be called here at the plate for Brady Bye, who had a bug in his eye, it looked like. And it's tough to play when you're trying to be, so methodical, and you almost become robotic, and things then don't work seamlessly. And that's what we're seeing with Medicine Hat. Retzlaff, pitch in the dirt. Blocking it was King. That will prevent the runners from moving here. 8 hits already for the Regina Red Sox. A win in this game, they'll take a 1.5 game lead above the Mavericks in the standings, and they'll still have 3 games in hand. It's just a perfect scenario for the defending champs. Retzlaff by a swing and a miss. He has been the only player who really has not found it here for Regina.
Wonder if it's the left on left is maybe just catching it by, and how the ball comes out of Retzlaff's hand.
One to Bye. Up into center field. This probably will score 2. Second one going to be waved around, and the throw will not be close. This time the cutoff man is technically hitting Frankie Giacaloni, who made himself that, and it's a 6-0 lead for the Regina Red Sox. James, I'm trying to find a topic to talk about that isn't one that we've talked about in the last few games, but it is the same scenario, and now coming out of the dugout is Ryan Reed. I'm not sure if this will be the end of it for Danny Retzlaff. And it will be. So he's going to go to his bullpen here. Julian Pokorny will enter the game. He didn't warm up for very long. We'll see if the, short warm-up either helps or hurts Retzlaff. Pokorny in this scenario, I'm not sure it really even matters at this point. You're just going to throw someone in and see what they can do if you're Medicine Hat.
Yeah, you wonder if it's a guy in Pokorny who doesn't need a lot to warm up, and he'll get his 8 or 9 pitches here to get ready for this outing. But it's tough. Danny Retzlaff pitching really well in this game, really until this inning, and the ball just finding its way really around him, right up the middle, and Regina able to score here and now lead 6-0.
And I want to mention this because I don't think it's anything we've brought up yet. The Mavs playoff streak, it's on the line every time they start a new year, but it is very on the line this year. And I don't know a specific date to when they last didn't make the playoffs, but I can tell you this much. Since Greg Morrison took over as the owner in 2009, they have not missed the playoffs once. And they are in jeopardy of doing that. This game's so crucial. They trail it already 6-0 for a group that has not come back a lot. That already puts doubt into your mind.
It's tough. You can't, almost in this game, especially if you're players, you can't think about that. You have to worry about, the next at bat, the next inning. But it is weighing, right? Or you would think it would weigh as the year goes on. And, we've seen losses string together. It's 4 right now, the slide for the Mavs. And, it's just fighting through that. And we've seen or heard, whether it's Frankie Giacalone, Nick Hill talk about living through failure and finding success through failure of, baseball. You could fail 7 out of 10 times and still be a really, really good player. So just haven't seen that from the Mavs, able to respond and bounce back from losses. And, it's something they're going to have to find in a hurry here as, we're in the last quarter of the season.
And sometimes it's those self-propelled, scenarios or narratives that you bring up. It's almost as if there's a little newscaster in your head sometimes. I know, at least for me, that is something that, you can hear yourself talking or, hear what the front page headline would be every time you make a mistake. And you just have to be able to remove that from your mind. And, as someone, I'm sure, James, you the same playing sports growing up, it is tough to remove that. And really in everyday life, it can be tricky. And so I'm not saying it's easy for the Mavs to do, but they will have to find a way if they want to get back into this season and back into the playoff push.
They do. It's got to be a quick change, and it's really easy to say, and we've been saying it all year that something has to change soon, and whether it's the approach or just who leads or whatever it needs to be, but they've got to make some kind of change, and more than likely it's between the years.
They're changing things up with bringing in Julian Pokorny in a reliever role. This is where he's at his best. A 1-2 inning specialist, throws hard. The velo may not last at its peak for long, but when it is at its peak, he can do that. A strikeout for Julian Pokorny as he sits down Will Tower, the first batter he sees.
It's a different kind of pressure going from reliever to starter or starter to reliever, either way of, you're not trying to last the whole game or go as long as you can. It's, throw your best stuff out there for 1 or 2 innings. So for Pokorny, it gives him that chance to get right and, to dominate if he can in an outing. And that's a good start there with a strikeout.
Pokorny still has to deal with the one-on. Guy that wears his heart on his sleeve in the dugout. And on the mound as well. You don't see it as much sometimes in the field of play for some guys, but when they leave, emotions can be high. And with the struggles for Pokorny, you would assume that, some of that has obviously come out. Here's one that's popped up foul. And it's okay to play with emotion. It's just about regulating it.
Turn it into, a drive or whatever you need, motivation to, for the next outing and to respond.
0-2 count here to Alex Roux. Middle of the order guy. Good contact hitter. Unable to get the call is Pokorny. Pokorny, a quick look over in Johnny Volcano's direction. If there was ever a time for a ground ball, now is the only answer. Swing and a foul off there. Alex Roux getting lucky. He's tied up by that pitch, and sometimes you put a bad swing on it and you still are able to stay around.
Just able to fight that off and stay alive. It's a big part of finding success, giving yourself more life.
Pokorny Spikes that down low. No challenge this time from Rue, so it's 2-2. Picorni. Long stare down. No chase this time around. So it is a full count as working himself right back in is Alex Rue.
And Rue not really offering on that outside or even down low. The pitch is there from Picorni, and, maybe not close enough to really give him a chance or to put the thought into his head of swinging.
And that one not close. Good lunge out by Nate King. Could have been much worse. Of course, the runner in Brady Bye already going over towards second base. But King wanted to make sure that, of course, he didn't get bag 3, and we've already seen that. Some extra bases taken by the Regina Red Sox. Not because they're stealing, just because they're reading things well off the bat, and obviously some troubles in the outfield for Medicine Hat. Now here comes Rayne Krekowitz, the center fielder. 2 on, just 1 out here for Julian Picorni. First pitch is a strike to Krekowitz. I'm not sure if this is a new tactic for the Mavericks, but I do have to say there is nobody sitting down in their dugout. That bench is bare, and of course you can't see down below into the tunnel, but I think every member of their team is standing up along the fence. Interesting approach here. Maybe a tactic to kind of revive their group.
Just keep everyone in the game and, cheering on, and that's how you keep spirits high and keep things, looking towards the game and trying to come back in this one.
0-2 here from Picorni as he duels with Krekowitz. Picorni, no offering from Krekowitz, and it's that fine line between what is close and what is something you cannot challenge at. And there's been a few pitches here for Picorni that have not been on cue.
And look at the Rue at bat as well. Two quick strikes, and then, a ball, a foul ball, 2, and then 3 straight balls for the walk. And you have to try to put batters away when you get ahead.
High pitch, Krekowitz, no swing. He's been getting that final strike here for Picorni. He hasn't been putting anything in the zone, and in some ways, it's tough when you've given up so many hits in the past. You're worried about throwing one in a spot for a hitter to attack at. Krekowitz, no swing there as well, so another full count.
It's dancing between, not wanting to give them anything to hit so they don't do any damage, but also having to make it close enough or looking enticing enough to swing and try to get an out.
Krekowitz takes this one back off his bat. Don't believe that would reach the parking lot. Picorni. He'll do it again on the full count look to Krekowitz. Krekowitz, another one fouled off. Now if you're a pitcher, you get thinking about putting it outside of the zone, but Regina has watched pitches so well in this game, and they haven't offered at a whole bunch, other than some early ones from Danny Retzlaff. Now if you're Picorni, I think you just have to keep going into the strike zone and seeing if you can get a ground ball. Gets a pop-up here, but it'll drift foul.
I agree. You just got to stay on the attack, and, if you can't get the ground ball, get some kind of out or, at least try to make a play on a ball in play.
And if you give more runs up, you've already given up 6. It doesn't really matter. The only way that you're going to get back in this game is with a few bounces, and obviously you put the ball in the strike zone, the chances of getting a bounce are a little bit higher than if you walk and kind of seal your own fate. Another foul-off attempt here by Krekowitz as he has stayed sturdy in this at-bat. It's now 9-pitch at-bat. This will be the 10th pitch of it. Picorni on the way again. Krekowitz over towards right field. Backtracking is Volcano. Runner will tag. And the cutoff man is his brother and Johnny. A good play there. Not trying to throw the runner out at third. You're probably not going to get it there if you're playing in the WCBL. That's not disrespect to any of our players. It's just a tough throw to make, a long ways to go, and it takes a special arm. Credit to Julian Picorni on the mound as well, just challenging Krekowitz and getting the fly out.
He does, and it was sharp enough of a fly out for Adam Volcano not able to get behind it, really set up. It didn't hang up long enough. And, if you think of a high fly ball that he could settle under, walk into to maybe get the throw off, maybe he has a chance there at 3, but, it's tough there. Just wasn't, don't want to say flat-footed, but just had to make the catch and got the out, the more important part.
And now another 2-out scenario for the Mavericks where they need to limit things and shut things down. First pitch here to Regina is for a strike. You can get it out almost anywhere at the diamond right about now, and that is what Julian Pokorny needs. Runner going to go. Hit over towards right field. Charging on is Adam Volcano. He'll have to let it bounce, and that is why the Mavericks have been unable to stay in some of these games this year. They haven't allowed other teams, they haven't been able to stop other teams when base runners are on and late in innings with 2-out looks, and that just can become super frustrating for a group, especially when it continues to spiral like this.
It is. It's tough. They're playing back in the outfield right now, so nothing gets over their heads, but, a single just drops in front there and is able to score a run, and, it would have been hard for really any of the Mavs to get to if they were in right field.
Now it is a 7-0 Regina lead. They have 10 hits here. We are just in the 5th inning.
The goose egg below it for the Mavs looks, shines a little brighter.
James, you're flirting with danger with that statement.
It's right there. Like it is. Not saying anything that's not there. So, yeah, for the Mavs, whenever they can get up to plate again, it starts with one hit.
2-1 now to Chance Deskelchuk. The final hitter in this Regina order. Waiting on deck is Jalen Myers. I swear we saw Jalen Myers in this inning at some point, James.
It feels, that's how fast the game's really gone, but it feels like we've seen almost everyone this inning.
Deskelchuk swing and a miss against Pokorny. 4 runs given up here for the Mavericks. That's 3 consecutive innings where they've gave up runs. Stop me if you've heard this before. 2-2 from Pokorny. High pitch. Now a full count look for Julian Pokorny. I'll use the same statement I just did. Place it right in. Runner going to go here for Pokorny. Ground ball towards Carter Roth, and it's up over the top of his glove and in. Long throw here from Volcano. Tap play at third, and Nick Hill gets the tag and almost biffs it on his way off. Another run comes across for the Regina Red Sox. They now lead by 8 here after the top of 5. Nick Hill ends the last inning with a tag at third, begins this inning with a pop-up. We don't even get to introduce him. Tough play over near the dugout. Will Toer makes the grab. And I just want to say, for anybody out there that is questioning, do the players want it that bad? Do they want this to stop? You don't think that they're the first people that want this to end? They care more than anybody, maybe besides Greg Morrison, the owner and GM. And, I just want to take a second to kind of defend players on, I guess, all losing teams in all situations in the league. These guys love baseball. They love coming to the park. They don't love being in slumps, that's for sure. And when the results aren't there, they want it more than anybody. And sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, it makes them tense up. It makes them try to do too much. The Mavericks have experienced a bit of that. But don't for 1 second ever question if they care or not, because there's lots of great individuals in the locker room, including this guy, Volcano, a long hit over to left field, and he's going to charge over towards second base. He's got an extra base hit to begin this inning. And you talk about the last throw, James, you mentioned it off air from Adam Volcano and right. The leadoff hit here from Johnny Volcano. Those are some high-character guys who want it badly. And, getting to know these guys over the summer, that's one thing that, I got to advise people out there. You just can't question it. They all want it just as badly as you do cheering at home.
They do, and you talk about it, Johnny Volcano, guys that are, this is it, this is that last ride, last dance. You think of the Michael Jordan documentary that they want to try to go out on the high end, and that's not where they are right now. So they're doing all they can to try to right the ship.
A chop off there by Nate King that was right at his hands. It's almost the automatic swing. You get close, you flinch, and you end up swinging at the same time. Adam Volcano waits over on deck. A chance to get a run back here from Medicine Hat. Any run goes a long way. King snaps it over into center field. That gets down for a base hit. Volcano going to be held over at third by David Dell, who took over the third base coach duties just the other day. And now Nate King has a base hit. That's back-to-back hits, the first two for the game. And didn't want to mention it, of course, when it's going on. Kagan Baker carrying a no-hitter into this inning, and it's finally broken up by Medicine Hat. What a performance so far from Baker. There's a reason he was named an All-Star. There's a reason he's the ace in the Regina rotation. If they make it to the playoffs, that's a guy you can feel can steal a game, even off of the best teams, the Moose Jaws and the Saskatoons of the world.
For sure. They've got their head coach or interim head coach Braden Cobb has got his guy really to start game one, and Baker's showing that here tonight.
Baker, head tilt. Adam Volcano now over into left field, and something is starting here for the Mavs. Johnny Volcano will come in to score. He doesn't even have to run to get there. And so now the Mavs put their first run on the board. It's an RBI single for Adam Volcano, and he scores his brother Johnny. In that scenario, I think you could put an Acorn stair lift over at third base, and Johnny would have still been able to score. Just a perfect piece of hitting there from Adam.
It was. They've, really 3 straight hits into that left center field gap, and whatever was plaguing the Mavs through 4 innings, they were able to pick up what Keegan Baker's throwing and string some success here in the 5th.
The Mavs have woken up, and sometimes at the end of a year you'll say, well, it was this one conversation or one statement or this was the turning point. But I think it's the culmination of a lot not going the Mavs' way, and some plate appearances that they would like back over not just this game but the past few games. And you get fed up with it eventually, and something starts to appear. One guy kind of works off of the other, and then you start to build a little momentum. A long ways to go in this game, but a run on the board for Medicine Hat as Josh Stark comes to the plate with 2 on and just the 1 out. 3 hits for the Mavs. The Mavs here, more hits in this inning than in the entire game before. Kagan Baker, a quick conversation on the mound with Zane Paul, and now he'll see Josh Stark, who hits one hard into right field. That falls right into the glove of Alex Rue. You can't swing it much better than that if you're Stark. Just doesn't get the drop, so those 2 will remain on for Medicine Hat. And now some action in the Regina bullpen. Looks like they're going to move to the left side. A lefty warming up for the Red Sox. Taking a peek. See who that might be. Looking through my scorecard, I think it's Quinn Boreen who's down on the right-hand side. Still lots of runway, though, you have to feel for Kagan Baker. He's kept the pitch count low. Could get through this inning and maybe even the next. First pitch here to Morrison is for a ball. Waiting on deck is Blake Dale. Baker Shakes off the first pitch, then a long stare. Doesn't like the second one either. Now he eventually lands on something that he likes. Morrison takes that for a high pitch. Saw the bases loaded look in yesterday's game, and that's where it felt like the comeback really fell apart for Medicine Hat. After they weren't able to get any runners through with the bases loaded look, maybe they got the one. I think Morrison came across. They fell off after that. Could they get the same sort of feel here? Baker. Pitch is going to tail off high, and it's now 3-0. So if you're Morrison now, you know a strike's coming. You want to swing, but probably going to take on the next two pitches, James, if you're guessing.
Yeah, I would guess. Just pass the torch. Let Baker, and he's done it all night, but prove that he's can get in this count, and if he can't, then pass it on to Blake Dale.
And a high pitch to Morrison. So that is ball 4, a 4-pitch walk. Keeping a long watch on Braden Cobb down in the Regina dugout. See if there's any movement from him or Zane Paulin. They are going to leave Baker out there. Bases loaded look for Medicine Hat. Is there a different end to the bases loaded story for the Mavs? We'll have to see. And for Blake Dale, 2 plate appearances he would like to forget about. If he has a short memory, it will show itself here against Baker. If the last at-bats are kind of still hindering him, could get the same result. First pitch to Dale, high for ball 1.
It is tough to shake off 2 strikeouts, but you get, he's seen 6 pitches and now 7, so he's seen almost all that Keegan Baker has to offer and, can try to attack.
Baker. Pitch on the way to Dale. That one's going to be a fly out towards right field. Probably fortunate that did get foul, hanging up high in the air, and would have been playable if it stayed in right field for Rue, but obviously far off the mark. So it'll be 1-1 to Dale here with 2 outs. Baker. He and Castellanos have not been on the same page. There's been a lot more time between pitches, primarily because he's shaking off a lot. Dale pops this one up, and he's behind 1-2.
You wonder if, too, with the Mavs runner on second, if they're really going through extended signs as well, just to camouflage things, and it's just taking a little bit longer. But, as you said, we've seen some head shakes, and they're just trying to find that perfect pitch.
Baker, a strike away from getting out of the jam. Here comes the pitch. Dale, high over towards right field. Should be playable for Rue, and he will make the grab. So the Mavs, once again, bases loaded, no results. They trail 8-1. And the Regina Red Sox, that might have been the final pitch from Keegan Baker. What a day he had. 1 earned run given up, just 3 hits. That is ace material from Regina's best. been a little bit since we've seen Trevor Sire on the mound. He came in to face, I think, one batter. This was quite a while ago, I think last week. Returns here, Nate King behind the plate. A familiar look, a comfortable look for Sire. And he sees Jalen Myers, so he gets the top of the order here. First pitch for Sire is a strike.
I believe we saw him in the ninth inning of the Thursday game against Saskatoon. Derek Archer goes 8. JJ Harnett, gets the ninth and is unable to close it out where Sire does.
High pitch from Sire here. Committed to Doane University, was at Kankakee last year, went into the portal and got an early commit. So he'll play with Adam Volcano at Doane, and that's got to be exciting. Teammates here, and now teammates continuing on into the fall. Pitch misses for Sire. Be 2-1.
Go join we figured it out since the last time we talked about it, the Doane Tigers.
The Tigers, yes.
Yep.
There's too many teams named the Tigers. We got to stop with using that name. Or Wildcats. It's another very prevalent name in the NCAA. How many good teams can be named the Wildcats? Villanova, of course, you have. Kentucky. I'm pretty sure Kansas State is the Wildcats. I think even Montana State might be the Wildcats as well. Banish that name.
What about the East High Wildcats?
Oh, deep pull. A deep pitch here for Sire. That's a ball. East High Wildcats. Where'd you get that one from?
High School Musical.
Oh.
Not a Troy Bolton guy. That's a tough look,
No.
German.
I'm more of a Troy Tulowitzki guy.
Get your head in the game.
It is.
That's
I'm
a
only
song.
talking about
It's a
baseball.
song from High School Musical.
Sire, high pitch, and a walk to Jalen Myers. And a frustrated Trevor Sire in the mound. You think about the 3 walks in the Lethbridge game, a comeback effort from the Bulls. That was at Spitzfield, and there haven't been a lot of appearances since then for Trevor Sire. And you got to feel for a guy, you're put into a really tough spot in that game. The Mavs exercised the entire bullpen, and sometimes you take that one on the chin and you feel like it's your fault. And for Sire, obviously a lot had to go into the Bulls coming back. It was not solely on him by any means. Jalen Myers going to go. King, throw down to second. One hopper into the leg. What a throw by Nate King. Oh, a perfect strike right on a line to Carter Roth, and that is out number 1.
It's a really good throw, really good spot there right in front of second base. All Carter Roth had to do was catch that one and, let Myers slide into it, and he does. And, very quickly gets that out, and hopefully for the Mavs and Sire, settles things down and he can just focus on the hitter again.
And that's what friends are for, picking each other up as King gets the out at second base after Sire leads on the walk. 1-1 now between him and Jake Fowler. Sire, low pitch. King picks it up, and it'll be 1-1. We'll get you updated with all the scores around the WCBL. It is a long stretch of games tonight. It is a packed scorecard. After this inning, in the mid-stretch of the 6th, we'll get you updated with the rest. Here's a base hit into left field for Fowler. He's going to try for 2. A long throw. Roth's got it. He'll tag Fowler. 2 outs via the tag at second. Roth had the ball knocked out of his hand at the tail end. Looking to stretch it out is the speedy Fowler, and speed costing Regina here. But in a game that you leave by 7, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, you want to be aggressive on the base pass. It is tough. Like, I think Blake Dale has at the ball by the time Fowler rounded first for second. So, aggressiveness and Dale getting the ball in quick. And another play, Carter Roth kind of looks nonchalant because he's able to get the ball, and he knows he has enough time to get that tag and get the out.
Yeah, nonchalant is right. First pitch here from Sire is a ball. Just the way that Sire's receiving the ball back, you can see he's almost living and dying with every pitch. And when you've had struggles, that's a thing that can kind of rear itself. Foul off at the plate by Castellanos.
You'd hope the last 2 outs kind of remind him or stick in the head that it's, we're all in this together, the Mavs are. And, 2 outs from defenders at second base and, really propping them up.
Good pitch by Sire, lower half of the zone as he clips it. And don't get it twisted. Numbers are one thing, but Trevor Sire is a good pitcher. He has good stuff, and his coaches have belief in him. Once he finds it and gets the confidence back, that he'll find a role in this Mavs rotation, or bullpen, rather. Of course, he was with the Fort Mac Giants previously. Didn't play in the WCBL last year and then returned in 2026 for his second season in the league. Here's the 2-2 from Sire. No swing from Castellanos, who's aggressively chewing gum down below. There's some guys who feel it's distracting. There's other players who need it. I heard it actually exercises the brain. That's what all my teachers used to tell me. Here's Sire. Swing and a miss, and he gets Daniel Castellanos. 3 up, 3 down here for Trevor Sire. A little unconventional. And you can see Nate King going to join him, give him his congratulations. And I hope we see Trevor Sire for one more. It's the Trevor Sire we know and love, and a good inning for him here in the top of the 6th. Time for a scoring update in the WCBL. A couple of games happening tonight. And it looks like there was supposed to be a game between Energy City and Saskatoon. No official update, but it looks like it may have been rained out or postponed for some reason.
It looks, sorry, Truman.
No,
just
you're all
looking
good.
on Flow Sports, it's a 12-9 Barriers lead in the top of the 8th.
Oh.
So it's not, it for some reason hasn't showed up on the website, but that's what I'm seeing on the Flow College stream.
I've heard that there's been a shakeup in the Energy City organization, so maybe the reason that the ball club's not active tonight, that the only game the ball clubs is not active for. Of course, game happening in Okotoks as well, the other, I guess, Western Division, a battle with a Western Division team in it, and the Dogs with a 1-0 lead early over the Bombers. Sylvan Lake up in the bottom of the 5th against the Fort Mac Giants. They're up 8-0 already. The Weyburn Beavers, obviously important for this game. They're up 8-2 against the Swift Current 57s. They will be in a playoff spot by the end of tonight. If this continues, and of course that continues, and by that I mean them taking down Swift. And that's the, I guess, the rest of the game recaps. But a full slate tonight as Jackaloni will swing and miss, and it's 0-2. Another inning of work here for Kagan Baker. Will it be his last is the question in the bottom of the 6th.
If you were looking at the Mavs lineup, with the lefty warming up in the Regina bullpen, the two lefties are, the 9-1 hitters. You would wonder if that's where you target to bring in that reliever.
Jackaloni pops this one high. No danger of being in play. That one far foul. Baker, you wonder when he's going to run out of gas. I know it's not the highest pitch count we've seen this year, but every arm eventually turns into a noodle. Oof. Jackaloni almost had his arm lost with that pitch up high.
I think if you ask Frankie Jackaloni, Baker's arm is fine. There's velo there, and the control maybe not, but yeah, there was enough there, and 73 pitches. You kind of said it. You wonder if maybe this is it or one more max.
Jackaloni, a swing and a miss. Right past for Kagan Baker.
For the 6th strikeout of the night for the Regina Red Sox starter. And, doesn't really look much different from when he started this game. It's seen the efficiency and the velo, and other than really the pitch up high on Giacalone, there's still the control.
Baker, 2 walks, which is kind of rare for him to see. That many walks in a game, and that's saying a lot. But the walk numbers still low, and a hit by pitch here to Carter Roth. Wears that one on the arm, takes first base. That's not how you want to start a rally, is having your best player hit by a pitch.
No, it's a tough earned start to that rally, and Roth seems to be doing okay down there at first. So, Ryan Reed and the Mavs can get a deep breath going out there and carry on here with Nick Hill at the plate.
Nick Hill. You wonder almost if he's finding some spots of fatigue. It's just the past couple of games, and he wasn't playing for the Mavs to start the year. Joined late. Came out the gates firing, but it has been a different Nick Hill recently, James. And it's honestly a little bit shocking just because of how consistent he was before.
Wonder if it's maybe videos getting around of just players watching or pitchers watching, and maybe how to attack the few outs that he did have really in his first 2 weeks as a Mav.
Roth takes an extra step, then holds off, strike hit to Hill. Yeah, video is so crucial. You see the 2 players added to the Regina roster in Reina and Kipke coming into this game, and I'm sure Medicine Hat wondered, how are we going to deal with these guys? There isn't a whole lot out there. Roth, the lead gets a little bit longer with a few twitches, and he's just playing mind games over there with Baker. We did see him get gunned down trying something like that previously. Roth very fast. He hasn't been given a lot of opportunities to steal, which obviously that's why the stolen base numbers are down for number 10.
Also maybe just trying to see what the move looks like from Keegan Baker, and if he's able to take advantage of it or not.
Here's a high ground ball. Roth will get to second, and no play is available. Running right past it was Jake Fowler, and a unique hit there for Nick Hill. I assume this is going to be recorded as a hit. I guess we'll see what the official score is, and I think it is being called a hit for Nick Hill, so his first of the night. As the Mavs now have 2 on here with 1 out in the bottom of 6.
Just a dribbler, really, but not even that, because it popped high in that grass, and by the time it got to Fowler, Roth was already there at second base, and it would have been tough to get Nick Hill at first, and he really didn't even have a play on it.
Baker, how much time does he have left in this game? Volcano, high pop-up over towards second base. Both Hill and Roth will rotate back to their bases, and that's out number 2. Think about being on time, not so much with the swing, but if Johnny Volcano could have taken his hit from the last inning in this one, I know he would have. And you think about, you score 2 runs if it's flip-flop, but that's living in a fantasy land. I get we can't get too far down that rabbit hole.
And it is, Ryan Reed talked after last night's loss of, going up to the plate with a game plan and making adjustments. And it's been a tough couple. And we saw Nick Hill do it a couple innings ago. Johnny Volcano there. Just the one-pitch flyout kind of, can kill things or really take the air out of the sails of momentum-wise here. And, it's done that a bit here for the Mavs.
Nate King takes the first pitch for a strike from Baker. If Regina can preserve their bullpen for the 7th, that matches up really well. 2 innings, then you bring in your closer. Lots of times it's David Gordon. In an 8-1 game, you might even want to hold him off from playing. You can bring in a guy that hasn't pitched as much, see what you have. Quinn Boreen, he hasn't logged the most innings by any means on anyone on Regina, and so allowing him to come into the game, maybe mixing up the look here is a good use of an arm. 1-1 to Nate King. King turns on it, pops it up, too far for it to be playable, and lands right on our heads. So King behind here, 1 and 2. 2 base runners on. Nick Hill at first. Carter Roth over at second base. King. Several twirls of the bat. Baker. Pitch to King. Off over towards right field. And playing that a little too shallow and making a good fadeaway play is Alex Rue. That's the 3rd out here in the 6th. It looks like the day could be done for Kagan Baker. But what a day it was. 6 strikeouts, just 1 earned run given up, and 4 hits through his 6 innings of work. And the Regina Red Sox still in command, up 7.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Trevor Sire. Was expecting him to get another inning. Also, on my hands and knees. It's fun to watch Trevor Sire pitch when he's going. And a 1-2-3 last inning. Exactly what you want to see out of him as he faces Brady Bye here, and he gives Brady Bye a favorable 2-0 count. There is some movement in the Mavs bullpen. It looks like J.J. Harnett is down there. Pitch inside. Moving his arm was by. Maybe a little bit of acting being done there by Brady Bye.
I think it all kind of works out. The first pitch of the at-bat looks really close to a strike, called a ball, and still ends up a 2-1 count.
Brady Bye, high ground ball. Good play by Carter Roth. He read that perfectly off the first hop, and that's out number 1 as the lights come on here at Athletic Park. Those shining down on all of the sponsor signs in the outfield. And if you look towards the left field side, Town Place Suites by Marriott, the official hotel of the Medicine Hat Mavericks, their sign planted right next to the light pole there on that side. It's a beautiful view when you get up on the berm. Probably the best view of the park unless you're up over by the golf course. That one's arguably better, but still far away. First pitch from Sire is a strike. James, what's your favorite place to sit when you come to a Mavericks game? You can sit anywhere.
Don't do a lot of sitting, I'll be honest, other than up here in the booth with you, Truman. That I don't mind my spot at the end of the dugout.
Swing and a miss. Will Tower sliding by that pitch. It's 0-2. But you can be found anywhere. I've seen you down kind of closer to the Regina dugout. Then you'll move to the middle right behind home plate. And lots of great pictures coming from those spots that you find yourself at.
Yeah, just do whatever you can to get a nice picture.
It's a weak ground ball that goes foul from Tower. That was a really slow swing from a guy who often swings with speed.
Just doing whatever he can to fight that one off. And, if you're not in the booth, Truman, where would you want to sit?
Oh, good question. I guess it depends. Depends on the stadium. If I'm here at Athletic Park, ground level is so unique, and they got a glimpse of what Trevor Sire can do there with the strikeout as he fans Will Tower and then takes a walk around in celebration.
It was a nice piece of pitching there, and, even the last at-bat, just getting the ground out there from Brady Bye, and 2 quick outs here for Sire. It's, a good response from the last inning where he still gets through it clean, but gave up a couple hits that then turned it outs on the base path.
Sire, head nod, and now he looks towards Alex Roux. First pitch to Roux is a strike. James, I'm happy you asked that question. I've sat in some really bad spots in my broadcasting career, including in the stands and behind poles and fans. So any spot at Athletic Park is a good spot in my eyes.
It's a good answer. It's a good
it's a good promotional
answer. That's a good
answer.
business answer, yeah.
I wasn't trying to be that way. I'm not a sales guy. I'm just a storyteller. 1-1 from Sire. Up over the head of Rothanen for a base hit, and reaching is Alex Roux. One on late here with 2 outs for the Regina Red Sox. That's the second time Roux has reached with 2 outs. That will send up to the plate Rain Krekowitz.
Yeah, Roux able to just handle the pressure of 2 outs and fight off that pitch from Sire into really right center, a little bit taller maybe if Carter Roth is. He can jump and get that one, but just out of his reach.
Is that an insult to Carter Roth's
Nope.
height, James?
Nope.
Had to confirm. 1-0 to Krekowitz here, who has 1 hit so far tonight. Reese Reina on deck, and what a WCBL debut he has had with 2 hits and 2 RBIs in this game. Ripped wide there by Krekowitz down to the bullpen. Sire. Quick shake of the head. Must really like this pitch. Here it comes to Krekowitz, and onto his backside there was Nate King, a good stretch. And that is a one-legged pad save, glove steal. It's a little bit of goalie-like athleticism from Nate King.
It is. He had to reach back for that one.
He reaches away for that as well. 3-1 here between Sire and Krekowitz. I had a goalie in mind, but I was just like, nobody out there listening is gonna know who I'm talking about, so I wasn't gonna go down the rabbit hole of random Toronto Maple Leafs goalies that nobody's ever heard of.
Who was it?
I'll tell you after this pitch is Sire walks Krekowitz. So 2 put on now for Regina. Jonas Gustafsson. I don't know why he came to mind. He was the first goalie I ever watched in person at a hockey game. Maybe that's why. Andrew Bench quickly to the mound. We'll talk with Trevor Sire. I know you want me to bring up Ontario now with Sire being on the mound and being from Petrolia, and of course the Leafs talk being coincided there.
Nate King, Lindsay, Ontario as well. Just an Ontario meeting on the mound.
And Andrew Bench as well from Ontario, from down in Font Hill. That's closer to the Niagara area. And Bench now will head off with the mound. Frankie Giacalone, the odd man out. I don't think San Diego is located in Canada. I'm not a geography major, but I don't think those two things go together.
I think Ontario is the
The traffic is just as bad in San Diego as it is in Toronto, Ontario. I can tell you that much. Sire pitches high here as he looks towards Reese Reina. So we know a little bit about Reese Reina now, and that's that he's pretty darn good. I don't think he'll be at the bottom of the order for long here with the Red Sox. Those late season acquisitions keep paying off for the Red Sox year in and year out. Last year, Ian Monson, our late arrival, and he put it together in the postseason. You think about Zaid Brannigan and Daniel Castellanos, who's still with the team, all notable members of that championship squad. Here's the 1-1 from Sire. Low pitch and putting a hand out there, calling time is Reese Reina.
I think also just telling his guys don't try to run on that the Mavs catcher had that. And, whether it's all sports, different leagues, because the WCBL is unique in building rosters, any late addition you can make to a lineup that contributes is a big plus as you try to push for a title.
Pushing in a strike there is Trevor Sire. Lots of these guys playing in previous summer leagues are making appearances elsewhere. And for Reina at the plate, played for the Wilmington Sharks in 2024. However, he just played 1 game and had 5 at-bats, so it's a bit of a stretch. It's the 2-2 to Regina. Swings and just fouls that off. He's more notably known for being at Salem University, where he's batted .311 over the past 2 seasons. Pretty good numbers. And he's a guy that really does it all with a bat in hand. He 91 hits, 96 RBIs, 62 runs, 21 home runs in his 2 seasons there. Standout numbers as this one is hammered towards center field, high enough that it will hold up in the air for Morrison, and that is the final out. Trevor Sire, 2 clean innings. That will bring the confidence back for the Mavericks' first-year reliever, second-year man in the league, and his day may be done, but it's an impressive 2-inning look here as we stretch in the 7th.
For more than 40 years, we've been there, helping Canadians find the extra space they need to grow and to create new memories. Sentinel Storage. Buy Canadian, store Canadian.
Kagan Baker, the day is done. We talked about his line for today. It is Samuel Jackson that comes into the game. No, not Samuel L. Jackson. Let's preface this. There is no relation between the two. In fact, this Jackson from Australia, and no, he's not related to any of the other famous Jacksons as well. He's trying to make a name for himself and really has a higher ERA for the Regina Red Sox, but he's been a reliable source out of the bullpen and a pretty good setup man for their group.
I believe we saw him the last time the Regina Red Sox were here coming out of the bullpen as well.
He's got that Chris Sale-like delivery on the mound. I guess you could say that about any left-hander, but I really see that when I watch Jackson pitch.
You know, and it's interesting, we're seeing him out of the bullpen twice now. He started 7 games for Regina this year.
Strike to Adam Volcano, who tilts his head. Mavs near the bottom of their order. It'll be Volcano, Stark, and then Morrison, who's in the 1 spot. Just 4 hits for Medicine-Hat so far today, and a ground ball that takes a mean hop off the apron, and that is out number 1. A ground out for Adam Volcano, who's just picked up 1 hit so far tonight. Josh Stark, good contact in his last at-bat. The Mavericks coaches talk about barreling up the ball when you're barreling it, even if it's going into the opposing team's gloves for now. That's something you just have to stick to, continue to work with your approach.
And now Stark gets to try it against a lefty, right, and has to try to combat that. And Jackson's arm angle, as you said, that resembles Chris Sale.
Yeah, this is an ugly matchup for Josh Stark. No lefty likes to see another lefty. I feel like it's even worse for the lefty on lefty than a righty on righty, too, because a lot of lefties, it's that long delivery that you see, whereas righties, you know, not as many side armors, I would say, or guys that come from that angle. Pitch to the backstop here from Jackson, but a swing and a miss from Stark.
I know a lot of left-handed hitters talk about, you know, facing a lefty pitcher. It feels like it's, you know, it's going to hit them before it breaks into the zone where, you know, righty on righty. unless the right-hander is really on the right side of the mound, it's going to end up in the zone more so than hit them.
Jackson on the 1-1, high pitch to Stark. Stark always walks away from the batter's box. I've just been noticing this. Like he's a chef carrying one of the pizza on one of those, pizza sliders, pulling it out of the oven, always holding the bat very still. I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed that, but it's something that I see time and time again, and I just keep thinking about that for some reason.
Are you just thinking about pizza too?
Oh, pizza's so good, James. It's a top 3 food for me, I've got to say.
Yep. There's really good pizza in Saskatoon, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Where at? Can we get a shout out?
No, I forget the name of it, but it was
it was so good you forgot the name.
Good. Yeah.
Jackson, 2-2 look to Stark. Stark, slow ground ball. Jackson over to first. Tap on the bag. Stark rushing it out and unable to get there in time. That'll be out number 2.
Jackson does a good job getting over for that, and Will Tower with the shovel pass and switching has to throw it to the right-handed glove of Jackson, and he's able to step on first base and make that play.
And we talked about that with Eric Calder when he was playing first base, and you got a guy who catches with his left or throws with his left hand, and that makes things a bit harder. In the same case, but just the reverse, as you mentioned, James, with Jackson on the mound running to first. Here's Evan Morrison, 2 outs here in the bottom of 7. And 2 quick outs, I might add. Morrison behind on the pitch as he swings through. The Bugs are getting bad down there. I'm watching every single person around the diamond swatting fearlessly. And those critters, they don't go away. And you got a mixed bag of what is out there. Sand flies, mosquitoes. Of course, you just have your regular flies as well. And then those little no-see-ums. I don't know what the exact name for them is, but they are a bother, and you'll be itching your legs for hours. Jackson, the 1-1 to Morrison. Pitch ricochets off the mask of Castellanos. He was looking for a ball from the home plate umpire. Instead, the home plate umpire will deliver the goods himself, wanting to show off the arm if there's any scouts out there watching.
It's never too late to get a chance.
Come on, James. Are we being
It's
real?
a little too late, yeah.
Pitch from Jackson. Swing and a miss from Morrison. You get into a stage in the game where you're just thinking about a solo shot or a deep hit. The rally almost seems so far-fetched, and a couple of the swings here from Morrison are suggesting he's feeling that way. Morrison fouls it off again. It's the length of the swing that has changed for Morrison. It's not that short, lay it out there to left field, almost a calm swing. It is an aggressive, far swing.
Yeah, it's balancing, right? You want to do damage in every at-bat, and especially in this one when you're trailing 7-1 in a game, but especially in a 2-strike count, you just have to try to make contact.
Morrison does make contact there, right off the netting and past the feet of David Dell.
That felt more like a swing of just trying to get on base and, kind of pass things along.
Yeah, the right play to change the approach from Morrison. But honestly, any hit right about now is what the Mavs need. It doesn't need to be a certain form. Jackson on the way. Morrison wants to do it one more time. Got to watch your head down there if you're Blake Dale. He's very tight to the netting. I'm not sure where the official on-deck circle is, but it looks like he's a bit past it.
It's a good spot to get a ricochet off that fence.
Jackson. Another run-of-the-mill here against Morrison. Flicks this one off towards left field. Playable on that side for Regina. He'll grab it, take it down, and that is another quick inning for the Mavs. 3 up, 3 down here to end the 7th. We'll move on to the 8th. 8 runs put up by the Regina Red Sox in a 3-inning span, and that is carrying them closer and closer to the finish line. J.J. Harnett back on the mound. Not his best showing in his last appearance here, but plenty of confidence for the young gun. He's played his year at PBA in Lethbridge, and he didn't get a lot of run there. Came here, proved why he's going to be getting a ton of looks next year if he returns to PBA. And that's the thing for lots of these players. There's not a ton of guys who are moving around going to different spots. And the loyalty finally showing in the university ranks, which has kind of been lost with all that has happened in the last few years, portal-wise and NIL-wise, players moving about. Harnett, I'm sure, likes being close to home. Obviously a local guy here from Medicine Hat. Harnett, swing and a miss, and it'll make it 1-2. First guy he sees is Chance Deskelchuk, so two of the younger players in our league that are not affiliate players in this match here. Harnett, Deskelchuk flies that one back. He's missed the mark barely on 2 pitches here. And Deskelchuk, a guy that Regina was very excited about. Maybe the numbers haven't proven, that he's a stable force in the league yet, but there's lots to come from Deskelchuk. And you think about years 2 and 3, if he returns to the WCBL, they could be pretty special. Harnett the same, as he's high here. Harnett was probably in the all-star running for the Mavs. There were several relievers you could have picked from. They elected to go Tanner Hale, but Harnett's name was very much in the conversation. Here's the 2-2 to Deskelchuk. Pops this one over to right field. Long way to go for Adam Volcano, and it's too far to make a play, and so we'll rerun here. Jalen Myers, top of the order, on deck for Regina. Harnett going to step off here. Nate King standing up. Deskelchuk calling for time. Harnett, 2-2. Try it again. High pitch here to Deskelchuk. Regina's approach at the plate for all their players have been so solid. They do the same thing over and over again, and they just make living easy. Fouled off, reaching out for it was Jalen Myers. And just no panic at all. They're reading the sequencing well from the Mavs, and that's a big part of it, is sequencing and changing up where you position the ball, what way you work to each batter. Deskelchuk, another that he gets under and flips backwards. So he's close. That's what this at-bat is proving, whether it's now or when he sees his next one, whether today or tomorrow or whatever game comes about. Deskelchuk is on top of it. At least he's seeing Harnett well. Harnett, full count. Here comes the pitch. Deskelchuk, do it again. No, your Flow Sports stream is not broken. It's just been the same at-bat over and over again. And Deskelchuk making Harnett work for it here. We saw a 10-pitch at-bat earlier tonight when Julian Picorni was in the game. This reaching up to that level as well, and now a fly out over towards center. Evan Morrison takes hold of it. That's out number 1. Chance Deskelchuk, a valiant effort here. And he's unable to make it happen. But 2 hits on the night for Deskelchuk. He's come through to score once and has also potted in an RBI. Trying to get the official numbers on that last at-bat. 11 pitches in total. So I think that's the high of the night, an 11-pitch at-bat. Jalen Myers started off the game striking out, then came up and sent a 2-run homer over the fence. And ever since then, Regina has not looked back. They have not lost the lead. They've only built upon it. 1 run to fall in the next inning, 5 after that. And then 2 zeros put up by Trevor Sire, who had a very successful evening. Even though his team's not in it, you look for individual performances that stand out, and Sire's obviously has. Harnett, big swing from Jalen Myers. Jeez. Had me off balance up here with a swing like that. You're almost preparing to make the next call when you see a guy flash a great swing. He just unable to make contact against Harnett. Harnett looking to frame was Nate King just outside. It'll be 3-1. Coming up for the Mavs here, they got a game against Swift Current tomorrow, off day Thursday, game in Moose Jaw on Friday, 2 at home against Weyburn on the weekend. Harnett, a walk here to Jalen Myers, so 1 on and 1 out. It'll send to the plate Jake Fowler. Some crucial games, this being one of those, and it looks like the Mavericks are going to drop this here, barring what would be, one of the all-time better comebacks I've seen in this building. And there's been some good ones over the years. Think about a few against Moose Jaw. That was in the 24 season. And, even last year, a few that you can't find the words to be able to describe how great they were. Harnett going to miss wide here. But it's been the Mavs' inability to score runs and chip away at this Regina lead that has, held them in what you could only call is the froze zone. Harnett gets the call that time. Seems like no matter what the Mavericks try, everything has just stayed cold. 1-1 from Harnett. King checked over at Myers at first base. Myers always a guy that's looking for a chance to steal bases. Great speed over there at first. Harnett right tight to the body of Jake Fowler, and that's a ball. For the Red Sox, this is their first game post-All-Star break, so lots of time off. Last time they got into a game was on the 17th of July, and it's already the 23rd. 4 days off. And a chance to take first base here for Jake Fowler. 2 on now for Regina. Some stirring going on in the Mavericks dugout, and here comes Andrew Bench to talk with J.J. Harnett. Well, we get a chance to, view the chat here between Harnett and Bench. We'll take a look at a guy who's been talked about a lot throughout his time in the WCBL. Not sure if he makes an appearance tonight, but Xander Udi Sanger wanted to put his numbers over the year on display for you, and the career began at an all-time high for Udi Sanger, a 3.18 ERA in 2022 when he entered the league, and the numbers have gotten higher, but his role has increased. He's got more opportunities and thus more chances to give up runs at the same time. But Udi Sanger, one of the league's more consistent relievers throughout his years, and he's back here in 2026. You never see guys that are 5-year players unless you have an affiliate year. Udi Sanger, one of those, and he has been in Regina for all 5. Just one of those guys who I'm sure the Red Sox organization appreciates a lot. A guy who's from Saskatchewan, so more of a local product than many others. Daniel Castellanos, 2 on here for the Regina Red Sox. Castellanos is able to score from the plate. That would give the Regina Red Sox a 10-run lead and put the mercy rule into effect, but it's still far away. Castellanos' work to do as he takes ball 1. For the Red Sox, their schedule coming up after this, they'll see Sylvan Lake and Weyburn for a pair of games, and then they still got a couple West Division series to finish off. We'll see the Fort Mac Giants, that one being played at Elks Field. That's in Brooks, which is kind of confusing, but I guess the travel makes the most sense. That'll be on July 25th and 26th, and they get Energy City for 2 after that. Castellanos, the first pitch that he'll foul off here for a strike in the at-bat. They'll actually go up to Energy City to play those 2 games. It's really odd that they're using Brooks's field for 2. I'm not sure if that's just an error on the schedule or if that's actually a fact, but lots of games coming up against West Division opponents for the Red Sox. Good strike that rings in for Harnett. Inside part of the plate is caught. Myers hops off of second, Fowler off of first. Mavs defense playing back. Harnett, high pitch, full count here to Castellanos. Harnett strides forward, swing and a miss as he gets Castellanos for out number 2. Castellanos with a head shake as he heads back to the dugout. And now we'll bring up to bat Brady Bye. Brady Bye, if there was a WCBL Hall of Fame, we're which I don't believe there is. At least I've never heard about one. It's obviously because careers are so short, but if there was a Hall of Fame, he would be in one. The numbers that he's put up throughout his 4 years have been spectacular. Of course, the accolades and the all-star appearances to go with it. And he's one of the rare players, just like Xander Udi Sanger, who have played in the league beyond just a 1 or 2 year span. He has spent 4 consecutive seasons. Him and Udi Sanger have been teammates the entire time. Ground ball over to Carter Roth, the 2-time all-star, over to Giacalone for out number 3. And J.J. Harnett strands a pair of runners here in the 8th. The Mavs will get the bats out again here as the night sky starts to turn dark. All things considered, it's been an impressive response for the Regina Red Sox after their head coach, Ry Pathakis, was let go. They replaced him with Braden Cobb, and that was at a time when the season was winding down and you still have a championship caliber head coach at the helm. They bring in a new guy, and it has worked. We saw that a lot in professional sports this year. Coaches getting fired late. They bring in a guy. They go on win streaks. Regina looking to make it 4. They are 6 outs away. First pitch to Blake Dale here in the bottom of the 8th is a strike from Samuel Jackson. We'll see if the Red Sox go to the bullpen, who they go to in the bullpen after, or if it is Jackson for both innings 8 and 9. Mavericks just 4 hits in this game, as fouling that off is Blake Dale. A long night for Dale, who's 0 for at the plate. Pair of strikeouts early on, and then a flyout in his last at-bat to right field. Top of the Mavs order, their first 4 hitters are a combined 0 for 8 so far tonight. Here's a ground ball for Dale, hoping to change that. Strike to first base, off the hop. Good catch by Will Tower for out number 1. And now you can increase those numbers. It is an 0 for 9 combined from the top half of the Mavs order. Here comes Frankie Giacalone. Giacalone will wait for Castellanos to get his mask back on. Jackson. Great pitch for a strike, and that one had some hum to it. This game's had some hum to it as well as far as speed goes. Local time here, it's just 9:09 in Medicine Hat. Game started at 6:45 and right at 6:45 today. Games are always more fun when they have a good pace, regardless of results or who you're cheering for. Giacalone takes for a ball from Jackson, and it's 1-1. It has not, however, been a fun stretch for Medicine Hat over the last couple of games. They're fighting it right now. It's like a cold that you can't get rid of. It lasts a week long, and you're hoping it only lasts a few days. And, you know, it's a Mavs team that are trying to break out, and getting a hit here is Frankie Giacalone. He's going to head for two as Pig will wave him over to second, and Giacalone is in with a double. The first hit for a top four batter in the Mavericks lineup tonight, and it's Frankie Giacalone who's over to second with one out. Carter Roth, man on second base. Now he'll take his turn. 0 for 2 on the night is Roth. He reached last time. Both him and Nick Hill got on and then were stranded just after. Jackson, first pitch to Roth. He'll swing and miss. There's been some uncharacteristic approaches from Carter Roth recently, and he's just another one of the Mavericks who are fighting it in this season, and their veterans especially. This is the last bit of baseball for Roth, at least collegiately you could say. This is a summer collegiate league, and so you want to go out in a place where you're satisfied, and I'm sure he's not at the moment. Roth, a pitch low. Did obviously get the ASG MVP honors recently, but that's not enough for him. He came here to compete for a championship, and he and the rest of the Mavs disappointed with the recent results. Roth. 1-1 on tap here from Jackson. He's going to look over to Giacalone first. A swing and a miss from Roth, who was looking to turn on that pitch and missed. Feels like the Mavs desperately needed an off day after having a few. But at the same time, that might not even change anything. They're just dealing with what's ahead, and what's ahead next, obviously, the Swift Current 57s and a couple more innings here against the Red Sox. Jackson double checks and a foul off from Roth. He'll stay around in the count. Cheer from the crowd there as the ball boys go head to head, and the one from Regina's dugout able to get the job done. Must be a happy place to be over there right now. He's going to get a couple of high fives on the way in, and why wouldn't it be an 8-1 lead for Regina? Of course they're giving out high fives to the bat boy. Always good to see other teams doing that and playing into the fun and being respectful of the young workers that the Mavs obviously bring out. Carter Roth now had a bug in his face. Those bugs, I guess they're targeting the best players, as Brady Bye obviously had to deal with that earlier and stepped out. Now Roth takes a second. Roth on top of it, and it's off the top of the netting. Roth adjusts the gloves here. Also allows Jackson and Castellanos to breathe. Still some warming up going on in the Regina bullpen. It is a very slow warm-up down there. I'd only categorize that as soft toss for Quinn Barreen, who's still warming up. Jackson on the way. Roth down the line, off the bag, and in for potentially more than one. Roth around second. Giacalone will come in to score, and it's an 8-2 ball game. Carter Roth with an RBI double, his first hit of the night. For the fans that are left over here on a Tuesday, beautiful summer night, weather still holding up. They get the claps ringing around for Roth. Here's Nick Hill. Hill has a hit in this game, and so does Johnny Volcano, who waits on deck. Jackson. Long wait. Hill, swing and a miss. That pitch avoiding the bat at all costs. Quick dip on it from Jackson. Jackson returning quite quickly. Here comes the 0-1. Hill, a swing and a miss. He's behind 0-2. Jackson playing at a pretty high-end university this year. He was at New Mexico University. Of course, that's NCAA Division I. You see some teams where it's just all major universities. You look at the Okotoks Dogs and the Sylvan Lake Gulls have many of those. Jackson, one of the few that plays Division I on the Regina Red Sox roster. Jackson, swing and a miss. 3 pitches to get Nick Hill for out 2. So Roth will wait over at second. Johnny Volcano, his collegiate teammate, will come up to the plate. Johnny Volcano has never not appeared in the playoffs in the WCBL. And that's pretty crazy considering he's played 4 years prior in 2021. Obviously, or that was 2022, I believe he was with the Lethbridge Bulls. And the Bulls, a perennial playoff team. They've gotten in every year since probably the year I was born in 2002. They don't miss very often. They were the champions of the league in 2021. And then Volcano after that. Every time the Mavs have made the playoffs since 23, so is he. Jackson, Volcano, high pitch, takes for ball number 2. The Mavs do have a guy warming up in their bullpen. Trying to get a look to see who that is. Can't exactly get a number on it. It's tough to see with those digi jerseys. That's what they're calling the jerseys they have on tonight, if you were curious. I know I've talked about it in previous editions of this broadcast. Here's Volcano, pop up towards short. Out number 3 hangs in the air, and now it sits in the bottom of the glove of Jake Fowler. The 9th inning is headed up next here from Medicine Hat. Regina 3 outs away from making it happen. And they've got an 8-2 lead as the Mavs get one back. An RBI double for Carter Roth as we head to the break. Pitching change for the Mavericks. They go to Davin Highnote on the mound. Highnote's been used in a lot of different situations. He started at one point in the season. He's coming in relief. And now he will come in to the 9th inning. He gets to see Will Toer first. So rude awakening for Highnote, but it's getting late. A lot of people going to bed here in Medicine Hat, but the night sky is, despite getting darker, as I mentioned previously, it's still got a little bit of brightness in it, and I think that that's a story that can be told along these two team seasons. It's not over yet. Even in this game, Regina's going to make up some ground and create some separation between them and the Mavs. But But there's still lots to be done for both these teams as Roth, a quick out number one off the bat of Tower. And you just have to believe, you have to stay positive, and had a really good conversation with Jamel Chabot before today's game. And, the thing that he kept relaying and saying was, I come to the park and I want to have fun every day. And no matter what the results are, my approach is that I'm coming here to have fun, and I am having fun. And that's all I can control. And, you hope for everybody in this game and every player down the stretch in our league that obviously fun is put at the forefront, and results, they'll come with that a lot of the time. Second pitch from High Note, or second, I guess is the second pitch as well in the second at bat, is wide for ball one. High Note. Chop swing foul here from Alex Roux. Alex Roux has put together some competitive at-bats today. He's recorded one hit, a couple of walks, and a couple of runs as well. When there's a walk to your name, you know that you competed in at least one at-bat. High pitch here to Roux. Takes for ball number two. High Note. That one will dust up the dirt. It's 3-1. Ryan Kreckelwitz waiting over on deck. High Note. Pitch back into the strike zone. That gets a cheer from somebody in the crowd. I'm not sure if High Note's got family in attendance today. It's coming from the lower ground level area. Here's the 3-2. Swung on and driven into center field. It's down for a base hit for Alex Roux, his second hit of the night, and it's a single. So High Note will now have to work with one guy on. Let's take a look at some of the scores around the league, as now things have obviously changed since we last updated you. You know what the look is in this one, but as far as the Weyburn-Swift matchup goes, the other Eastern Division battle, it is 19-2 for the Weyburn Beavers in the top of the 8th. So I assume that game will become a mercy game. Swift will drop a couple spots. They're falling further and further out of the playoff picture, and that is the sting for the 57s, who were in it a lot longer than a lot of teams, I think, expected, and a lot of people around the league would have thought. The Sylvan Lake Gulls putting up a valiant effort again against the Fort Mac Giants, but the Giants have worked their way back. It's now 8-6 in that game. This High Note, a swing and a miss from Kreckelwitz. Some nasty off-speed action from the Mavs righty. In the last game of the night, the Okotoks game against Brooks, it's 6-1 in favor of the Dogs in the bottom of 7. They were up 1-0 last time we checked in with what's going on at Seaman Stadium. Kreckelwitz gets the call to go his way here. It's a ball on the outer half. Then that last game, of course, Energy City and the Saskatoon Berries, but we don't have an official update. If you have the game on at home, you'll obviously know. That's the only way you'll find out. Kreckelwitz twitched, ball past King, and second base is taken by Roux. Just the one out here for High Note as he heads back up to the mound. High Note on the way. Sharp hit ball into center field. It's down for a base hit. High Note will go to cover. Runner going to be held over at third base, and now there's some traffic for the Regina Red Sox. No mercy rule into effect if there is a 10-run lead taken here. Regina will play it out because the Mavs, of course, you can't just end in the top of an inning. You have to play it all the way through, so this 9th will happen in full. For some fans who are heading for the exits right now, I guess it won't happen in full for them. They're not going to see the rest of the game, but I think they can predict the result at this point. High Note, first pitch strike. Reese Rina, what a night it has been. Talked about how it was his debut, how would he get acclimated to the league, and a pair of hits shows that he belongs right here. Regina, swing and a miss, looking to uppercut that ball and was unable to get a piece of it. It's 0-2. So the positive from Davin Hinote's performance is he's beginning counts with strikes. He's getting ahead. No free passes issued out. And if you're going to get hit, that's okay. Just make sure you put it in the zone. There's a swing and a foul off. There's no way that Nate King was going to be able to hold that foul tip. Regina. Home plate going to be dusted off here. Bit of a mooning from the home plate umpire towards Davin Hinote. I know that wasn't intentional, and that's how it has to be done, but an interesting look for Hinote. Now he stares into an 0-2 count. Swinging a foul off here from Regina. None of these Red Sox hitters are out of any of these at-bats. Even late in the game where it really doesn't matter as much anymore, they're still putting good swings on the ball, and they are not going down via the K. Hinote. This one clocked over to right field. Volcano got a weak jump, or it looked like he slipped. He's going to play it down the line. King at the plate. Tag not in time. Skipping around it and getting in to score is Alex Rue. Tough play for Adam Volcano. You know, the grass gets a little bit dewy out there and you lose your balance. And he made a great catch, especially based on the circumstances. That's out number 2. And so now up will be Chance Deskelchuk. Runner still over at first base here, but it's a 9-2 lead for the Regina Red Sox, who had some insurance here after 3 innings where they put up zeros offensively. Hinote high for Deskelchuk. His last at-bat was one for the books. Not in terms of results, but it was 11 pitches long. That's a high for tonight, and it's got to be up there for highest totals this season, at least Mavs pitcher-wise. I haven't at least seen any that have reached that total number. 2-0 here to Deskelchuk. Chance to swing at this count. Deskelchuk 2 for 4 on the evening. Deskelchuk, ground ball, fouled to the Mavs dugout. A couple of Mavericks spilling over the side. Looks like that was Danny Retzlaff who got the start in this game for Medicine Hat and looked poised through his first few innings, but it was the 4th inning when things unraveled. 7 runs given up, 6 earned. 4 strikeouts through his first 3 innings was promising, but he was held to just 71 pitches. Good pitch from Hinote, right at the bottom of the zone. Perfect location. Hinote a strike away from getting out of the top of the 9th and setting up his group in the bottom half. Still a long ways back are the Mavericks, and Hinote's going to miss on a pitch there. Hinote getting support for the crowd that is left here at Athletic Park. Runner going to go, pitch low, runner will get there, and it is a walk, so it didn't really matter. Jalen Myers will come up to the plate. 2 on for the Regina Red Sox, and Hinote is going to want that one back. A walk when you're a strike away is not something that is appealing to any pitcher. Here comes Jalen Myers. We'll see what he has left in the bat. Hinote, long stride, Myers fouls it off. Regina has done a great job so far, but seeing the ball well out of the pitcher's hand, being on time with their contact. The only thing is making the correct sort of contact on some of these things. Not getting to the barrel all the time are the Red Sox. 0-2 here to Jalen Myers now. Hinote, a sigh on the mound. Leg kick deals. Strike 3 called as he gets Jalen Myers, and High Note finishes his day with a K. The Mavs to the bottom half of the 9th inning as they trail 9-2. Mavs down to their final 3 outs here at home. A familiar tale that has been told over quite a few times. And another game that they're going to drop to a divisional opponent. It will even up the season series against the Regina Red Sox. And, I'm going to look foolish if there's somehow a 7-run comeback in this inning, but it's unlikely. And so, going to talk with where the game is at right now. It'll be 4-4 in the season series. These two teams will still play again at Curry Field. We'll see who the winner of the season series is between the Mavs and Red Sox, but Regina well on their way to making it 4-4. Here's King, charges this one to left field. Got under it a little bit maybe, and that's out number 1. One pitch, one out for Quinn Boreen, who checks in on the mound. Boreen, a second-year player here with the Regina Red Sox. Didn't pitch very much during their season in 2025. He was on their affiliate roster at that time. Now we'll face a former Mavericks affiliate player in Adam Volcano. Volcano. Boreen's day has been easy so far. Volcano swing and a miss off the top of the bat. And a bat boy race again late in the game. I know the dive was there for the bat boy from the Mavs dugout, but it was pretty far-fetched. Regina's ball boy taking the win again. I think he's been their inspiration for taking this game so far tonight and taking it to the Mavericks. It's been his play that's really guided them along. Nah, I'm just spilling crazy narratives, but it's always fun to make up something like that. He has done a very good job tonight, side note. Here's Boreen on the 1-1 to Volcano, freezes him, and the off-speed pitch lands for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes is where I was going with that. Boreen doesn't get it to fall. 2-2 between him and Volcano. Waiting over on deck for Medicine Hat will be Josh Stark. So either the Mavs will finish off at the bottom of their order or at the top. Evan Morrison in the hole right now. Boreen, good swing for Volcano. Just not enough to it in right field, and that has been the story of the Mavs' day. They've had some looks. They just haven't done enough, and the last 2 swings indicative of that. King with a fly out to left. Volcano with a fly out to right. Here comes Josh Stark. Stark's record this evening, 0 for 3. He has made contact all three times, a couple of flyouts, no strikeouts, which is always a positive. Stark, a change in scenery here, faced a lefty last time he was at the plate in Samuel Jackson. And now it is a righty in Boreen. Boreen's second pitch is scooped up by Castellanos. It's 1-1. Stark awaits the arrival in a high looping pitch. It was almost something you'd see from a position player at times. Just getting away from Boreen there. That happens. The ball has a little bit of slip on it. And just don't get through it like you usually would. 2-1 to Stark from Boreen. And now the Mavs down to their final strike. Talked about the upcoming games for the Mavericks. Their last game at home this season, barring obviously there's no playoffs. If there is, we'll find out later on. But regular season-wise, it will be August 1st, a earlier finish than most teams. And we've seen that over the last couple of years. It'll be the Swift Current 57s who they play at that point. Here's the 2-2 to Stark. And down looking goes Josh Stark, and that is the ball game. The Mavs lose another at home. They've dropped 5 in a row. The Regina Red Sox with 4 consecutive on their side of things, and they make a big leap in the standings. A 1.5 lead over the Mavericks here, and they take this one 9-2 at Athletic Park. Their last time coming here this year, they make it worth it. They even the season series at 4 apiece. Lots of great performances, but it all started off, of course, with Jalen Myers, the 2-run shot into right field, and Kagan Baker. 6 Ks on the mound, worked into the 6th inning. That set up for Samuel Jackson to come out of the bullpen, Quinn Boreen to finish it off, and they did not give up a whole lot. Just 6 hits as a unit and only 2 runs. That does it from Athletic Park. The Mavs back tomorrow against the Swift Current 57s to close out their homestand before an off day. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you back here on Flow Sports as always. My name is Truman Bartman, and we'll get back to more baseball action tomorrow. Take care.